Hi guys, welcome back to another exciting video, so sit back, relax, and let's get started. The first month of the new living arrangements for everyone had been interesting to say the least. Some adapted better than others, from uncomfortable, to acceptable, to unnerving, to trying not to kill each other. Since the Shimano children were housed without a guardian like the one Kota and Eri had been assigned, Midoriya, Mirio and a handful of adults like Ragdoll and Pixie Bob took it upon themselves to check on them regularly sometimes. Eri or Kota would accompany the supervisor to help them feel more comfortable with someone of the same age around. However, the young brother and sister always enjoyed the extra company. However, they were not the only room that required some supervision. Bakugo and Shigaraki were able to go from constantly yelling at each other to silently hating each other, thanks in part to Kirishima and Kurogiri keeping their respective associates' tempers in check. Much to the relief of the neighboring rooms, eventually they agreed that as long as neither slept while the other was awake, it would be enough to keep them from attacking each other. Natsuo was quite surprised by his roommate, who seemed to be very uncomfortable with his presence and tried to avoid him at all costs. Maybe he has trouble relating to others, thought Natsuo, although what puzzled him most was the feeling that he knew him from somewhere. Something about him was so strangely familiar that he was almost completely convinced that they had met at some point. But the thought of knowing a villain was so absurd that he found it hard to believe, although he couldn't get rid of that feeling completely. When they weren't in their rooms, the students were playing the multitude of games in their remaining game rooms. Some were trying to win some prizes, others were in the danger room, honing their skills against unique simulated enemies. Even some of the adult professionals spent some time wanting to stay limber and fit occasionally. A handful of curious people wandered through the theater, perusing the halls and revisiting the museum's many exhibits. Most of the villains spent their time at the bar, chatting about the things they had previously learned about the MCU, Kiddo, and how to use them to their own advantage. Ollie, for one, had his nemesis and roommate. The irony really came in spades inside this theater. Despite the many flashy rides and attractions, some still couldn't help but recognize the questions that were itching in the back of their minds. When would their next host arrive? What would he or she look like? And what would he or she show them? For those who wondered, particularly being a certain green-haired boy, they wouldn't have to wonder for much longer. At the end of the week, everyone received notes in their dorms stating that they should go to the theater because they were going to see a new universe and meet the new host. When both O classes, the professional heroes, the O staff, the third years, the villains, and everyone else arrived at the theater to find Somyeon, they assumed was their new hostess. A red-haired woman in her early 20s, pale-skinned, with fox ears and a foxtail. She was dressed in a short red and white dress, red boots, and held a scepter that reminded them a bit of Loki. But undoubtedly what caught their attention the most was her eyes, which reminded them a lot of a fox's, cunning and deceitful. She was watching everyone as if she was trying to analyze them. Everyone stood still, not knowing what to do, until the woman finally spoke. "Hello, welcome. It is a great pleasure to meet you. I am the great phantom fox goddess, but you can just call me Felicity. I know you have been watching with the deity known as Kiddo the MCU and have been able to see a new world of heroes and villains from which you have been able to learn many things since Kiddo has had to leave temporarily. I will be your new hostess. I will make sure that you all are comfortable and can enjoy this new universe that we will see. I hope you can learn new things and get a new perspective on things. The rules are essentially the same as with Kiddo. Fights are totally forbidden, and for whoever pisses me off there will be a board. Are there any questions?" "I have a question. What does that board mean?" asked Naomasa, although he wasn't sure if he really wanted to find out. You'll find out if you piss me off, but I don't recommend it," replied his hostess with a smile that sent shivers down the spine of many in the audience. "So, your name is Felicity?" asked Midoriya, eager to learn more about his new hostess. "Yes, that was my name in my life before I became a deity. Although my name as a deity is the Great Phantom Fox Goddess, you can refer to me as you wish. It doesn't matter too much." "What a stupid name, the Great Phantom Fox Goddess. What kind of stupid name is that?" asked Bakugo. "Bakugo, don't disrespect our hostess," replied Ida, quite annoyed by such disrespect to his hostess. "I'm very sorry, ma'am. As president of Class 1A, I take responsibility for any disrespect I may show you." "No need to apologize. I was not offended. And in answer to your question, Bakugo, the name was not chosen by me. My superiors assigned it to me when I became a deity." "Interesting," thought Midoriya, surprised to learn more about deities. "Is it another universe of heroes we will see?" All Might asked, interested in the new universe they would see. "Not exactly," replied Felicity, surprising both heroes and villains. "The world we will see next is quite different from what you have seen so far. For now, I will just tell you that it is a world of ninjas." "Ninjas," said several students loudly. They were quite surprised by this and weren't quite sure what they were going to see in this new world. "How nice. I couldn't stand seeing annoying heroes anymore," said Shigaraki. He was tired of seeing heroes. "I must admit, yes, seeing fake heroes from other universes was already making me sick of it," said Spinner, though he wasn't sure what to expect from this world of ninjas. "Well, it's time to get started. Have a seat, please, so we can start seeing this new world." Once everyone took their seats, they could see the title on the movie screen. Naruto. What kind of name is Naruto? Asked several people, quite confused by this title. I guess we're going to find out soon, replied All Might, although he was also a bit confused with this title. Will it have any quirk related to ramen? Asked Midoriya, trying to decipher the title. Shut up, Deku. That is probably one of the ridiculousness things you've ever said. An enraged Bakugo shouted back. Enough already, behave yourself, Bakugo, replied Ida, trying to bring some order as Class 1A president. Okay, let's get started, said Felicity. The audience looks at the scene in front of them in shock. They can hardly believe what they are seeing. The students and heroes were worried about the ninjas, as the fox was clearly a dangerous creature and the ninjas didn't seem to be able to fight it. Some even wondered if the heroes could fight the fox if it appeared in their world. Iri grabbed Mirio's hand, rather frightened. Mirio, seeing that Iri was scared, smiled at her. Don't worry, Iri, I'm here, he assured her. Even the villains were scared by the idea of facing the fox, especially because they remember their fight with Gigantomachia. How even fighting all together they couldn't fight the beast, and how Tamura fought more than a month with it before finally being able to tame it, and the fox is not only bigger than Gigantomachia but it seems to be much more powerful as well. Awesome. All for one could hardly believe what he was seeing. He could tell that the nine-tailed fox was a beast with formidable power, superior to Gigantomachia, and he wondered if he would be able to control the beast. Hold the attack and wait for the fourth Hokage. He's getting closer. Don't let him get near the village. A giant toad appears on top of the toad's head. There is a ninja. The fourth Hokage. Is he some kind of hero? Asked Midoriya, excited by the idea of seeing a hero in this new world. As he writes down in his notebook the names of the nine-tailed fox and the fourth Hokage, as he senses they are going to be important in this story, everyone except the villains is excited about the possibility of seeing a hero in this world of ninja. Not exactly. You'll see later that it's a Hokage, Felicity replied, making everyone wonder what they will see. Narrator. A shinobi engaged the nine-tailed fox in mortal combat. Close-up of the toad. Moving to the top of his head, his tongue sticks out. He sacrificed his life to capture the beast and seal it in a human body. The ninja gets into position and from his hands produces a bright blue light. This ninja was known as the fourth Hokage. The bright light fans out, covering everything. The screen turns white. Everyone except the villains is saddened to hear that the fourth Hokage died protecting the village from the nine-tailed fox. But at least they are glad that he was able to protect the village from the beast. Even Spinner thinks this is an act of true heroism to sacrifice his life for the lives of the villagers, although everyone is quite confused about the fox being sealed into a person. Sealing that beast into a person, how is that even possible? Shinso asked, rather surprised. Probably in that world there is some way to do it, though I'm not sure how, replied Yaoyorozu. MHH, I wonder what the human they sealed that thing into will be like. Will he be similar to Hulky? Toga asked, quite interested while the others consider it, somewhat scared by the idea, because while Bruce Banner is not a bad person, when he turns into the Hulk he can be unpredictable and destructive. Vlad even considers that the human in whom they have sealed the fox is basically a walking atomic bomb, but says nothing as he doesn't want to provoke an argument without more evidence. Opening credit. The scene begins with a newborn baby crying, with a black mark on its stomach. Don't tell me they sealed that beast on that baby. It's just dreadful. Iruka gasps, quite worried about the baby. All the others are also wondering the same thing. If the baby is the fox's container, some quite worried about the idea that it might turn out to be a danger to other people. Others wondering why they would seal the fox in a baby, but all quite interested to see what would happen in this story. He then turns to a boy, Naruto, who is running and carrying a bucket of paint. Laughing behind him, there are two ninjas chasing him. And Thisho, did we go from the fox attack to this? Asked Kaminari, not understanding what was going on. There must have been a time jump. When this story started, the narrator said that the fox attack happened 12 years ago. This must be the present, Shishida tried to explain, while the others nodded in agreement, finding this explanation reasonable. Some in the audience, Nezu, Aizawa and Midoriya, find that the boy looks a lot like the baby from before and wonder if it is him. So that boy's name is Naruto. He must be the protagonist of this story, says All Might, who calls his son Naruto. Asked Eri, quite surprised by this fact. I have no idea. Maybe his parents thought it would be a good name, or they just like ramen a lot, like me, answered Mirio. And why are they chasing him? Asked Midoriya, quite curious about this fact. With Naruto still laughing, they run off, flickering in and out of sight, bouncing off the walls of the houses. Then Naruto comes down, holding the paint bucket. Naruto laughs. Stone face is vandalized with different colored paints are shown. You're just crooked because you didn't have the guts to do what I do, yeah. Losers, wannabes, you'll never catch me. Laughs. Og, how dare you? That's an act of vandalism. Edo was quite upset with the idea of someone vandalizing a monument. Several of the teachers agreed with him, while some of the others, especially the villains and the kids, laughed as they found it hilarious that the kid had vandalized the Hokage rock. That monument looks a lot like Mount Rushmore. I wonder who are the people whose faces are there, said Suntory, while the others are also interested in this. Midoriya draws in his notebook the boy, the ninjas chasing him in the Hokage rock. Scene changes to an old man, Hiruzen Sarutobi, sitting in front of a canvas. Ninja number 1, Lord Hokage. It's an emergency. Hiruzen turns his back to his writing. I hope you're not bothering me with some trivia. And don't tell me it's Naruto again. Ninja number 2, it's Naruto again. He climbed up the big stone faces. Ninja number 1, he put graffiti all over the Hokage. So the faces on the monument belong to the Hokage, exclaimed Suntory, quite surprised, as was everyone else at this revelation. I wonder what they did to have their faces carved on a mountain. They must have been great heroes. Zero was really impressed with the Hokage. Yes, I want to know more about them. They must have done great things if they get that kind of recognition, exclaimed Katsuma. They sure were great heroes. If the 4th Hokage fought that giant fox, added Kaminari. While the villains groaned in frustration at the thought of more heroes in this new world. I just hope they're not fake heroes, thought Spinner. Wait a minute, isn't that man that the ninjas are addressing the Hokage, the one who was narrating the fox attack at the beginning? Asked Midoriya when he realized this detail, while the others noticed this fact. That's right. You're right, Deku-kun, said Iruka, which made Midoriya blush. If that old man is a Hokage, then he must be someone very powerful, Ribbit added Isui. Nonsense. That old man doesn't look like a big deal. I could easily annihilate him with my decay, said Shigaraki, who is pretty sure that he could defeat the old man without any problems. Tamura, you shouldn't take it lightly. You don't know what that man is capable of, mentioned Kirigiri. He's right, Tamura. We don't have any information about him. He could be someone more dangerous than he looks. All for one reprimanded his disciple. I really have to teach him not to be fooled by appearances. Yes, sensei. You're right, replied Shigaraki while scratching his neck, although he still thinks he could beat the old man. Hiruzen sighs. Smoke comes out of his mouth. The scene switches back to Naruto, who is still running away from the 2 ninjas, appearing and disappearing from sight. Naruto lands on the street, then takes off. The 2 ninja land in the same place and also take off. Naruto, who was standing against the fence at that spot, drops the sheet that was hiding him and laughs. With his hand behind his head, a ninja suddenly appears behind Naruto. Iruka Yumino. Iruka to Naruto. 0 Yeah, Naruto. Naruto jumps up, screaming, surprised. He lands on his butt in front of Iruka. Well, they already caught him, said Melissa. He's sure going to get in trouble for vandalizing that Hokage monument, mentioned Gyro. He deserves it for vandalizing a monument, replied Ada, still quite annoyed with this fact. Naruto, where did you come from, Iruka-sensei? What are you doing here? Iruka, pointing at Naruto. No, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be in class. He ran away from class too. This is the last straw. Ada could hardly believe what he was hearing, while the teachers shared the sentiment. The scene changes to a building, the academy. Naruto is sitting on the floor in front of Iruka, tied up in front of the class. I tie him, Upasant, that a bit extreme, said Fayumi, surprised by this fact. She, being a teacher, has had to deal with troublesome students, but she would never think of tying up one of them. While it's true that it's extreme, it's an effective method to deal with troublesome students, replied Aizawa, making Minda shudder at the memory of the time he tied him up with his scarf for peeping into the girls' restroom. Iruka, folding his arms, I'm at the end of my rope. Naruto, you failed the graduation exam last time, and the time before tomorrow you get another chance and you get it wrong again. Naruto slouches over, looking away. Iruka angrily points at the class. Good. Because you missed it. Naruto, everyone will review the transformation jutsu. The class lets out a groan. Then the scene shifts to the class in a row. One student is up. Great. Besides vandalizing monuments, not studying, not respecting your teachers, you just got the other students in trouble. How can you be so disrespectful? Ada can hardly believe his eyes. Meanwhile, the others ignore him and wonder what the transformation jutsu is. Midoriya, on the other hand, writes down everything he is learning in his notebook. Student, transform. Smoke rises around him, then disappears, revealing his transformation into Iruka. Iruka, transformed into me. Good. Next, another student steps forward, then transforms into Iruka. Iruka, ah, good. Student transforms again, then leaves. Everyone is quite astonished to see what the transformation jutsu is, especially because of its resemblance to a certain villain's quirk. They can shapeshift. Toga was quite surprised that in this world people had abilities similar to her quirk. She is also surprised at the fact that they could transform without the need for BLD. Great, more people with abilities like Toga's. Shigaraki was not very impressed with this fact. Well, not exactly, Felicity replied to him, which caused everyone in the audience to look at her somewhat confused. What do you mean by that? Asked Midoriya, eager to know more about the abilities of the people in this world. Some things are going to be explained in more detail later, but I will give you a little explanation about jutsus. They are techniques, some of which are somewhat similar to quirks. But unlike quirks, these techniques can be learned, replied Felicity, surprising everyone. How we could learn to do things like that? Asked Melissa, quite surprised by this fact. In theory, yes, but in practice it's much more complicated, replied Felicity. Interesting thought all for one. Iruka. Next, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto stands there with his arms crossed. Not happy. On either side of him are Shikamaru, Nara, and Ino. Yamanaka. Shikamaru. This is a total waste of time. Naruto. Ino, we always pay for your mistakes. Naruto, like I care. Well, yes, you should care. You got the whole class in trouble for your stupid things. Ida answered him, quite annoyed by Naruto's attitude. Bah, as if the opinions of some extras matter, replied Bakugo, who is not impressed by Ino and Shikamaru. Bakugo, you shouldn't call everyone extras. You have no idea if they will be relevant or not later on in the plot, replied Uraraka to him. Nah, for sure we won't see them again. Bakugo was annoyed that Deku's little friend. Naruto steps forward. Hinata Hyuga is standing in line, blushing and putting her fingers together. Hinata, thinking Naruto, do your best. OMG, is that a ship I'm seeing? Naruto and that girl that looks like Kyoka, exclaimed Mina excitedly, seeing the girl blushing and wishing Naruto luck. She doesn't look like me, Jiraiya replied as she blushed in embarrassment at being compared to Hinata. She's so cute. Hagakure replied excitedly, I hope we see more of her. She also reminds me a bit of Ochako when she thinks of a certain someone, Mina said playfully. As shut up, replied Uraraka while blushing. Naruto puts his hands together, transform. Smoke rises around Naruto, then goes down a little, revealing a naked girl. The smoke covers certain spots and blows a kiss. The audience opened their eyes in total shock to see what Naruto has just become, a sassy girl and naked with some clouds covering some areas. Several students blushed at the sight of Naruto's technique. Midoriya had to hide his face behind the notebook so no one would see that he was red as a tomato. Whoa, what a cool technique, Minda commented while drooling at the sight of the girl. Yeah, she's so sassy. Kaminari couldn't help but agree with Minta, which caused Asui to hit them with her tongue. She's naked. Gyro couldn't help but complain. She found this technique quite disgusting and something that someone like Minta would do. He's showing a lot more skin than me, complained Momo. Pixie Bob, Mandalay, and Midnight felt somewhat jealous at the sight of this technique. Bebot, who does he think he is? Appearing naked. Pixie Bob was surprised by the technique. Looks like I have competition, Midnight said with a small smile. In her opinion, it's a funny technique. Iruka, staring, surprised. Knocked down. Naruto transforms again, laughing and pointing at Iruka. Naruto, gotcha. That's my sassy jutsu. Iruka, shouting, stop with the stupid tricks. This is your last warning. The villains, the kids, and some of the students can't help but laugh as they find this hilarious. Naruto has to learn to respect his teachers. I can hardly believe how disrespectful he is. Eda could hardly believe what he was seeing, while the teachers agree with him. It's his own fault for falling for that trick, Toga replied, which caused Ada to give him a reproving look, but he chose not to answer her because he knows it's useless that the villains agree with him. So Sessi Jutsu, an appropriate name for that technique, commented Midnight, quite amused by this one. Midoriya writes down in his notebook what he has learned about the Sessi Jutsu. The scene changes to the village, then to the stone faces that Naruto had desecrated. Naruto is down in front of one, rubbing himself. Naruto, this sucks, loser. Well, you should think about it before vandalizing monuments. Ada was still annoyed with Naruto for his pranks. Although the punishment is appropriate, commented Kendo in response to the 1A class president, to which the teachers nodded in agreement. Iruka, with his arms crossed, sitting on top of the stone faces, you're not going home until you've cleaned up every last drop of paint. Naruto stops scrubbing, looks up, so what? It's not like there's anyone waiting for me at home. He goes back to scrubbing. Hearing the last thing Naruto just said, everyone in the audience except all for one who doesn't care at all felt sad for Naruto. The heroes because a child shouldn't be alone. The students because they can't stand the thought of losing their families, and the villains because they have had hard lives and before joining the league, many of them were alone. Is no one waiting for him at home? And his parents? Tetsu couldn't help but ask, wanting to know more about it since he can't understand why a child would be alone. Maybe he's an orphan, replied Shiro, feeling very sorry for Naruto. Poor boy, said Recovery Girl. It's so sad for a child to be alone. Natsuo couldn't help but feel bad for Naruto. Even though his family is complicated, he at least had his mother and siblings. The kids felt especially bad for Naruto since all of them have lost at least one of their parents and know how it feels, but at least they have their guardians with them, while Naruto doesn't seem to have anyone. Iruka looks at Naruto looks up, eyes narrowed and a pout on his face. What do you want now, sensei? Iruka, well, I was just thinking maybe after you clean all this up I can take you out for ramen, the good stuff. What do you think? Looks at Naruto. Naruto has a big smile on his face, more than happy with that. Now that's some serious motivation. I'll have this cleaned up in no time. That's certainly a good way to motivate students, said Present Mike. Don't you think so, Shota? PFF. Shut up, replied Aizawa, even though he considers it maybe it's not a bad idea. It looks like Naruto likes ramen, just like me. Mirio smiles, seeing that this boy has some similarities with him. It's good to see that Naruto has someone who cares about him, said Recovery Girl a little better with this fact. The scene changes to the ramen store. It is nighttime. Naruto and Iruka are sitting. Naruto slurps a bunch of ramen. Iruka, Naruto, with a mouthful of noodles. Iruka, why would you do that to the Hokage's faces? I mean, you know who the Hokage are, don't you? Everyone is interested to hear the answer, wondering why Naruto would vandalize the Hokage monument. I really want to know what he has to say about it. Ida, although still upset with Naruto for vandalizing the monument, being disrespectful and getting the other students in trouble, also wants to know the reason for his actions, especially after learning that Naruto doesn't seem to have a family. Naruto, of course he does. He slurps more ramen then finishes the whole bowl, letting out a sigh afterwards. Everyone knows they were the greatest shinobi of their time, weren't they? The best of the best, undefeated ninja champions. Naruto imagines the stone face of the fourth Hokage, which he had painted, and the fourth Hokage is the one who saved the village from the nine-tailed fox. He was the most awesome one. Iruka, then why? Naruto, because I'm going to be bigger than any of them. Me, Naruto, the next Hokage, points to his chopsticks in ninja legend. Then everyone will have to stop disrespecting me and look up to me, believe it. The audience is shocked to learn Naruto's reasons for vandalizing the Hokage rock and his desire to be Hokage and be recognized by the people of the village. Did I hear right? The people of that village are mean to Naruto? Asked Miharu, wondering why this was so. Surely because of his little jokes, Ida answered, while the others wonder if that is really the reason. The villains, on the other hand, identify a little bit with Naruto when they hear that the people of the village are mean to him. Some of them suffered discrimination and rejection in the society because of their peculiarities, being this their reason to want to change the world for one in which they are not discriminated, and apparently Naruto experiences something similar to them. Pause. Iruka sucks on the noodle hanging from the corner of his mouth. By the way, I want to ask you a small favor, sensei. Iruka, do you want another bowl? Naruto shakes his head. Oh, I want to try on your headband, shall we please? Bows his head, begging. Iruka gestures to his headband. Oh, this? No way, you can only wear the leaf headband when you finally graduate from the academy and become a ninja. You have to pass the exam tomorrow. Naruto, that's not cool. Pouts. Well, rules are rules. You'll already wear a leaf headband when you graduate, said Aizawa. Scene moves outside the ramen store. Iruka laughs. Hey, is that why you took off your glasses? Naruto, ugh, I want another bowl. Iruka laughs. OMG, they're so cute. Mina found the relationship between Naruto and Iruka adorable, to which several students agree. The scene changes the next day. At the academy, Iruka stands at the front of the class. Iruka, we will now begin the final exam. When they call your name, make your way to the testing room. The final test will be on the clone jutsu. Naruto holds his hands to his head, thinking, ugh, that's my worst technique. Excellent, I'm never going to pass. Clone jutsu, that sounds a bit like your quirk, Jin, said Toga, quite surprised by this fact. First she saw something similar to his quirk and now one similar to Jin's. Yes, you're right. No, you're not, shouted twice. Midoriya notes this new jutsu in his notebook. Well, if I spent more time studying and didn't make jokes, I would most likely pass. How come I failed 3 times and didn't study more? Ida was getting more and more disgusted by Naruto's behavior. On the table is a pile of leaf headbands. Naruto approaches, gets into position. Naruto, thinking, okay, get it. Naruto, you can do it, puts fingers together, believe it. Wind rises around Naruto loudly. Clone jutsu. Smoke disappears, revealing Naruto, and he looks to his right, lying face down on the ground, tongue out. Is a Naruto clone. It's kind of pathetic. Naruto laughs nervously. Iruka gets one of those looks on his face. Iruka, you failed. Naruto flips out him. Haha, if that's that technique, it's pretty lame. Shigaraki couldn't help but laugh at Naruto's failed clone. Boss, I think that's not really what the technique is, Dabai replied to him. It's what he gets for not studying. Ida was still annoyed with Naruto for not studying and making stupid jokes. Mizuki, Iruka-sensei. Iruka looks at him. He's out. But his moves weren't bad and he held his own and replied, this is his 3rd attempt. So you know he really wants to become a ninja. We could cut him a break. Naruto looks hopeful and pass it on. Iruka, Mizuki-sensei, the other students created at least 3 effective replicas, but Naruto could only create 1. Shot goes to Naruto's clone and look at it, it's pitiful. Naruto is shaking with anger. I can't pass it. That's a lousy idea. You can't pass a student who is not capable. If so, everyone could become a hero. We are looking for quality, not quantity. Aizawa couldn't believe what that other teacher was suggesting. Totally agree. If Naruto wants to be a ninja, he must be properly prepared. Otherwise it could be dangerous for him. Ectoplasm agreed with his colleague, as did the other teachers. Even the students agreed, especially Bakugo and Todoroki, who remembered their failure in the provisional hero license exam. If they had been allowed to pass despite their failure, they would not have been able to correct their failures and would have been bad as heroes. The scene changes outside the academy. The children are grouped together, with their leaf headbands. Happy. Kid, see that? They called me first. Kid, I passed with flying colors. Naruto is sitting off to the side. on a swing in the shade of the tree, looking depressed. Father, off camera, I'm proud of you, son, we all are. Mother, off camera, congratulations, I'm going to make you all your favorites tonight, we'll have a feast. Ibara, there, you see. Tsubaki, it's that boy, I heard he's the only one who failed. Ibara, HMPH. Well, it serves him right. Tsubaki, just imagine what would happen if he became a ninja. Naruto pulls down his glasses to cover his face. I mean, he's the guy who… Ibara, SHH, we're not allowed to talk about that. The audience can't help but feel sad at the scene they are watching. When they heard that the people in the village were mean to Naruto, they never expected this. Some in the audience, especially those who have mutant peculiarities or considered villainous, couldn't help but identify with Naruto as they also suffered discrimination. I don't understand. Why are those people so mean? Yuri was on the verge of tears seeing how sad and lonely Naruto felt and how cruel others were to him. I don't know. Mirio hugged her to comfort Yuri. But I don't understand what it is about Naruto that makes them treat him like that. And why can't they talk about it? Kaminari was quite confused by these facts, as was everyone in the audience. Some who remember how the episode started are starting to tie up loose ends, but they decide not to say anything so as not to ruin the experience for those who haven't realized this fact yet. Even the villains can't help but feel bad for Naruto. There's a noise next to Naruto, and he looks over. There's Mizuki near the students. Iruka is with the third Hokage, Hiruzen, and they are looking at Naruto and Mizuki. Hiruzen, Iruka, there's something we need to talk about. The shot returns to the swing, but Naruto and Mizuki are gone. The swing stops swinging. I wonder what the Hokage wants to talk to Iruka about, said All Might. I don't trust that other sensei. Aizawa looks suspiciously at Mizuki. He has a very bad feeling about this. It's dusk, and Naruto is sitting on the ledge with Mizuki. Mizuki, Iruka-sensei is tough, but he's not against you. Naruto, then why just me? The teacher is right. Iruka really cares about Naruto. If he didn't care, he wouldn't have taken him to eat ramen. He just wants him to try hard, mentioned Neji, to which the rest of the audience agrees. Mizuki, he wants you to be strong with all his heart, but that will never happen if he's easy on you. He's just like you. You know, no parents, no family. Iruka doesn't have a family either. What a poor man. Recovery girl couldn't help but feel sorry for him, as did several in the audience. Naruto, sad, gloomy, but I really wanted to graduate this time. If you want to graduate, study. Ada replied to him, to which several teachers agreed. Mizuki laughs softly, then I guess I'll have to tell you. Naruto looks at him, huh? Mizuki, it's a secret, but I'll let you in. Naruto, eyes wide open, thinking a secret. Secret? What do you mean by that? Kaminari was quite confused by this fact, as were others. I have a bad feeling about this. Aizawa didn't trust Mizuki one bit. Something about him just gives me a bad feeling. Scene changes to Iruka lying on his bed. The moon outside his window is full, thinking about the past. Hiruzen, Iruka, what's wrong, Lord Hokage? Hiruzen, I know how you feel. You grew up as Naruto, not knowing the love of a mother and father, the warmth of a family. Iruka remembers the night the nine-tailed fox attacked the village. Ninja, it's getting closer. Don't let it near the village. A young Iruka is being carried away. Young Iruka, let me go. My mom and dad are still fighting over there. Ouch. Scene changes to a close-up of the nine-tailed fox's eye, then returns to Iruka in his room. Everyone is surprised to see Iruka's backstory, and the fact that his past is somewhat similar to Naruto's. So, his parents died during the nine-tailed fox attack. Kamakiri feels bad for Iruka hearing this. Poor thing, both he and Naruto have had to live without their parents. Recovery girl feels bad for both of them. The children in the audience, Kota in particular, can't help but cry at the scene they are witnessing. Kota because he too suffered the loss of his parents while trying to stop a villain, something similar to what happened to Iruka. The heroes and students feel very bad for both Iruka and Naruto because of living without their families. Even the villains feel bad for them. Mizuki, Iruka-sensei, wake up. Mizuki is outside Iruka's door. Iruka opens the door. Iruka, what? What is it? Mizuki, you have to go to Lord Hokage's house right now. It's Naruto. He stole the sacred scroll. Iruka, surprised, you mean the sealing scroll? No. The audience is shocked by this revelation. While many of them see Naruto as a prankster and a bad student, it never occurred to them that he was also a thief. Something definitely smells rotten in Konoha. I knew something wasn't right with that guy, thought Aizawa. He most likely tricked Naruto into doing his dirty work for him to steal that scroll. Scene changes to Naruto sitting in the forest, near an old hut, reading the scroll. Naruto, let's see. The first one is multi-shadow clone jutsu. He puts a hand to his head, frustrated. Not this again. This is my worst jutsu. Now he steals too. This just keeps getting worse and worse. Ada was really annoyed with Naruto at this point. A group of ninja gather in front of Hiruzen. Beko, Lord Hokage. This is not just a joke, this is a serious crime. Iwana, the scroll contains secrets that were sealed by the first Hokage, secrets known only to our people. Iruka and Mizuki come running up, joining the group. Yajirobe, if it falls into the wrong hands, it could destroy our entire way of life. Hiruzen, okay, bring Naruto here at once. All ninja, sir. But this doesn't make any sense. First, that Mizuki ninja tells Naruto something of a secret and then accuses him of stealing that valuable scroll. Something here is very wrong, Hagakure said. Isn't it obvious? That guy tricked Naruto into stealing that scroll, Bakugo shouted, furious when he realized what had happened. With Mizuki for tricking Naruto like that and with Naruto for believing it. The heroes and students are furious with Mizuki for using Naruto in this way, while to the villains it sounds like a good plan. Sending someone else to do the dirty work for you and then seizing the scroll sounds like a good plan. But there's something they can't understand. Tricking someone else into stealing it for you sounds good. But what I can't understand is what kind of security they have. If that scroll is as valuable as they say, how is it possible for a kid to steal it? Mr. Compress is absolutely flabbergasted by this fact. And even the heroes can't help but notice that the villain has a valid point here. All the ninja disappear with a gust of wind in front of hers and the scene shifts to the village. Iruka stops at a building, panting and looking around. Iruka, thinking where would he go? Scene changes to another part of town, where Mizuki runs. Mizuki, thinking now that I told everyone what Naruto did, I can eliminate him, they'll be glad he's gone, smiling mischievously, and of course I get to keep the scroll. The audience is furious with Mizuki for using Naruto. And then wanting to get rid of him and worried about Naruto as they don't want him to die. Even the villains are worried about Naruto as they can empathize with him. Naruto is on their list of people they can relate to, which includes Bruce Banner, Hulk, Marie, Magneto, and now Naruto too. Yeah, definitely Mizuki tricked Naruto into doing his dirty work for him. Midoriya is furious with Mizuki for using Naruto in this way. He's going to eliminate Naruto. Bua. Eri bursts into tears upon hearing what Mizuki plans to do with Naruto. And the thought of the people in the village rejoicing at Naruto's death. Mirio and Midoriya immediately went to comfort her. Calm down, Eri. Surely Iruka is going to help Naruto and they are going to clear all this up, said Mirio. Yes, Eri, surely everything is going to be okay, added Midoriya, which made Eri feel a little better. The scene returns to the forest. Naruto is in front of the small hut, sitting on the ground panting. Iruka approaches him and Naruto looks up. Iruka, it's all over, laughs. Naruto scratches his head and laughs. Iruka straightens up, confused. Huh? Naruto, you got me yet. Not bad, you're fast. Sensei, I only had time to learn one technique. Iruka, thinking he's been here practicing, I can tell how hard you've been working. Naruto, happy, listen. Iruka sensei, I'm going to show you this amazing jutsu and you'll let me graduate and everything will be fine. That's how it works, right? Anyone who learns jutsu from this scroll passes. Iruka, huh? Where did you get that idea? Naruto, Mizuki sensei told me. Believe it. He turns to show the scroll on his back. He told me where to find the scroll. Turns to Iruka and this place. Naruto stops, noticing Iruka's shocked face. Iruka, thinking, huh? Mizuki. So that's what he told him, that if he learned a technique from that scroll he would let him graduate. And since Naruto desperately wanted to graduate, he believed it. Nezu was seeing how Mizuki managed to manipulate Naruto. As simple as stealing a candy from a child. All for One was quite pleased to see this. It was a simple but effective plan. Iruka senses the incoming attack and looks over his shoulder at the incoming kunai. Iruka, watch out. Iruka pushes Naruto back. Grabbing the kunai, he pushes Iruka back into the wall of the hut. Kunai are on the wall, some pin Iruka there, and there's one on his leg. Oh no, Mizuki found them. Katsuma was now very worried about Naruto and Iruka. And Iruka-sensei is hurt, exclaimed Recovery Girl. Wow, BLD. Toga is happy to see BLD. Although she really doesn't want Iruka to die, being one of the few people nice to Naruto, she has some appreciation for him. Mizuki, I see you found our little hideout. Iruka looks up. So that's how it is, huh? I should have known Mizuki is in the tree. Mizuki, Naruto, give me the scroll, now. Hand over the scroll. No, don't do it. Shouts twice. Naruto, wait a moment, looks at Iruka and then at Mizuki. What's going on here? Looks back at Iruka. Wow, this Naruto can't get any stupider. Bakugo couldn't believe Naruto didn't notice the obvious. Iruka, panting, he pulls the kunai from his leg and tosses it aside. Naruto, don't let Mizuki get the scroll. Mizuki stands, looking down. It contains forbidden jutsu, which could put this village in grave danger. Mizuki used you to get the scroll for himself by his own power. Naruto is standing now, looks at Mizuki, angry. Mizuki, Naruto holds out his hand. Iruka is just trying to scare you because he doesn't want you to have the scroll. Naruto, huh? Looks at Iruka. Iruka, stop lying. Mizuki looks at Naruto. Don't let him fool you, Naruto. I hope he doesn't fall for that. Kendo was worried that Naruto would end up believing Mizuki and give him the scroll. Whatever he wanted, it for sure wasn't any good. No, he won't. I'm sure he'll do the right thing, replied Midoriya. Mizuki, laugh. So, I'll tell you who's really lying. Iruka, no, Mizuki. Mizuki, they've been lying to you all your life, Naruto, since the decree 12 years ago. Naruto, what decree? Now the audience is quite interested in this fact, as they remember the people who said something they couldn't say about Naruto. Some of them who remember the introduction about the fox attack 12 years ago start to make connection. Some of them already suspected it, but now they are 99% sure it's the case. Although they don't say anything not to ruin the experience for those who haven't realized this fact yet. Mizuki, everyone knows but you. Iruka is trying to hide it from you now. He would do anything to shut me up. Naruto, looking at Mizuki, wide-eyed. What is this decree? Why does everyone else know about it? Iruka, don't tell him. It's forbidden. I wonder what this decree is and why does it involve Naruto, said Kaminari. Yeah, I mean, why can't we talk about it? What's wrong with this guy? Tetsu was also very interested about it. Mizuki, the decree is that no one can tell you that the nine-tailed fox is inside you. Naruto looks surprised. The fox spirit that killed Iruka's parents and destroyed our village has taken over your body. You are the nine-tailed fox. The audience is now completely shocked by this revelation. As so, the baby at the beginning is Naruto. Iruka is shocked by this fact. Indeed, Naruto is the baby in which they sealed the nine-tailed fox. In this world he is called Jinchuriki, replied Felicity, while Ragdoll poured her a coke. That's why people hate him. They see Naruto as if he were the nine-tailed fox and not a human. Midoriya was quite saddened by this fact. It reminded her of the Hulk in a way. The audience was saddened by this fact. People hated Naruto for something that wasn't even his fault and that he didn't even know about. Even the villains were sad for Naruto. They could understand it since they also suffered discrimination because of their quirks. They saw Naruto as someone similar to them. But how could they have someone so dangerous living in the village like that? Exclaimed Vlad, which earned him stares from everyone in the audience, especially the villains. He could be destructive and dangerous. Naruto is not a danger. He's just a kid. Bravo was quite annoyed with Vlad at this point. And you call yourself a hero? You already labeled him a villain without him having done anything. Toga was furious with the pro-hero for being so cruel to Naruto. Heroes, as usual, a bunch of hypocrites, said Shigaraki. Even other people in the audience thought the same thing, since they learned their lesson after watching Hulk. Iruka, shouting enough. Mizuki, they've all been hanging around, hiding things from you all your life. Didn't you think it was strange how they treated you like dirt? Like they hated you just for being alive? Naruto, tears in his eyes. No. Naruto has his hands at his sides and the wind blows around him. No. Iruka, Naruto. Mizuki, that's why you'll never be accepted in this town. Even your beloved sensei hates your guts. Poor Naruto. This is so sad. Komori was on the verge of tears watching this scene, as were the other girls and children in the audience. Even those who are not on the verge of tears feel sad about this. That's not true. There has to be someone who loves him, right? Asked Iri. Of course there is, Iri. Iruka cares about him. Mizuki is just lying to him, answered Mirio, who is convinced that Iruka cares about Naruto. Just by watching them interact he realized this fact. The villains, on the other hand, are interested in this scenario. The townspeople hate and despise Naruto for being the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox, and they believe that it is possible that he will become a villain, that he will reject the people who have rejected him. Although they wonder if he will follow a similar path to the Hulk, who, despite being originally seen as a villain, ended up becoming a hero. Even if that happens, they will support Naruto in the same way they supported the Hulk. Iruka bends over in pain, his hands on his leg wound. He remembers what Hiruzen told him earlier. Iruka, Naruto never had a mother or father to take care of him. He's excluded from everything, and he doesn't know why most people won't even look at him. How would you feel if everywhere you went, people turned their backs on you? Shows defiled stone faces. That's why he gets into trouble, so that people would notice. It may not be noticed. But he's always thinking about the family he doesn't have. He's hurting inside. The audience feels even worse for Naruto hearing this. They wish they could go there and help Naruto somehow, so he doesn't have to suffer. Now they can understand him a little better, his attitude and how he feels. But why doesn't he have his parents? Asked Iruka. Surely they abandoned him because they can't accept their son, since they sealed the fox in him. It's so unfair. Toga was really furious about this fact, since it reminds her of her own parents and how they tried to change her, and when this didn't work they abandoned her. I won't tell you what happened to Naruto's parents because it will be revealed later, but I will tell you that they didn't abandon him, replied Felicity. This made many in the audience feel a little better, although they wondered what had happened to Naruto's parents. Back in the forest, Mizuki is spinning a shuriken above his head. Mizuki, die. Naruto throws the shuriken. No, shouted several in the audience. Naruto steps back, then begins to crawl. Iruka, Naruto, get down. Naruto does so, covering his head with his hands. Then, Naruto looks up. Iruka is on top of him, the shuriken sticking out of his back. Iruka coughs a little, in pain. Naruto, with drops of BLD on his cheek, looks up at Iruka in surprise. So does Mizuki. Oh my god, Asui and Iruka were shocked by what they were seeing. Iruka saved him, Shoji said, quite surprised by this fact, as was everyone in the audience. But now he's hurt, and Mizuki will be able to attack Naruto. Awase was quite scared at this point and worried about what was going to happen. My god, said Ibara while praying for Iruka and Naruto's safety. Midoriya, Mirio and All Might felt terrible for the helplessness of being mere spectators. If they could throw themselves on the screen to help Naruto, they would do it without hesitation. Even the villains are surprised that Iruka saved Naruto. They feel somewhat grateful to him for this fact since they sympathize with Naruto. I must admit this is surprising thought spinner. I didn't expect to see this act of heroism. That he would risk himself like this to save someone who is considered an outcast. Even Stain would like it. I wish heroes were like this. Naruto, W.Y. Iruka, because we're the same. Iruka remembers when he was a child, without parents when I lost my parents. No one seemed to care. They didn't have time for me. They just forgot I was there. You see a young Iruka trying to cross the water with a rope. But he's acting stupid, losing his balance. The other kids are laughing. My grades went down. I became the class clown. Young Iruka falls into the water, then comes back up. I just wanted them to see me. Young Iruka laughs, scratching his head, and the rest of the kids laugh, and they knew my name. My school wasn't good enough to get attention, so I did crazy things. Young Iruka sitting in the corner of a room, alone, and then I had to pay for it. It was hard. Back to the forest. Naruto is looking at Iruka. Tears fall on Naruto's cheek. I know that's how you feel. Naruto, Iruka is crying. You feel lonely and hurt inside, and I could have been there for you more. Naruto sits up a little. I let you down. I'm sorry. No one should have to suffer so much. No one should be alone like this. Naruto's lip trembles. The audience is moved to watch this, especially Iruka's backstory and how to some extent he identifies with Naruto and how he regrets not being able to do more for Naruto. This is so sad. Hagakure is crying. Yes, Kota also cries right along with several others in the audience. He can identify with Iruka as they both lost their parents while they were fighting Muscular and the Nine-Tailed Fox. But at least he had Mandalay, the Pussycats, and later Midoriya who accompanied him and were with him. Iruka had been alone. I wish I could have done more too. Fayumi can't help but feel sad to think of her own family, and how she regrets not being able to do more to help them, and if that would have made any difference. Shoto and Natsuo hugged her in response. I wish I had had an Iruka in my life, someone who understood me and didn't reject me, Toga said. She too was sad. If I had someone like that, maybe I wouldn't be a villain. Mizuki laughs. Don't make me laugh. Iruka always hated you. He was orphaned because the Nine-Tailed Fox killed his parents, and that beast is now inside you. It would say anything to take the scroll from you. Shut your filthy lying mouth. Maharu is furious with Mizuki. If Iruka didn't love Naruto, he wouldn't save him. Katsuma agrees with him. Sister. Naruto gets up and runs. Iruka. Naruto approaches Naruto. Mizuki jumps down, laughing. You know that once he makes a decision, nothing can change it. Iruka's hand drops. Naruto keeps running. He's going to use the scroll to take revenge on the village. Straightens up. You saw that look in his eyes, didn't you? Those are the eyes of a beast. Iruka pulls the shuriken from his back, starts to get up. No, Naruto starts to turn around. It's not like that. Throws the shuriken. Of course not. Naruto is not a beast and he won't hurt anyone, Mirio exclaims. Iruka is right. Naruto wouldn't do anything like that, says Midoriya. He can sense that despite everything, Naruto is not one to hurt others, nor someone who would seek revenge no matter what. The villains, on the other hand, are interested to see what will happen. They hope that Naruto will take revenge on the people who made him suffer, but even if he doesn't, they will still support him. Mizuki. He dodges the shuriken easily. It goes up into the trees. You're a joke. As soon as I eliminate Naruto and get the scroll, I'll come back for you. Mizuki jumps away. Iruka, thinking I won't leave you. Of course not. Iruka would never let me hurt Naruto. Ashido exclaims. All the students and heroes agree with her. No matter what, he will defend Naruto. It's a really heroic thing to do. All Might was surprised by Iruka's willingness to defend Naruto. You're right, All Might. And that's why you're a real hero. Spinner was really happy to hear this, although he's still not sure if Iruka is a real hero or not, but with what he saw of him he's inclined to think so. Back in the village, Hiruzen is sitting looking at a crystal ball. Hiruzen, this is not good. Mizuki has a big mouth. Naruto can be seen running through the trees in the crystal ball. It made Naruto feel so bad, worse than he's ever felt. It could unleash the power within him if Naruto keeps tampering with the scroll. The seal that locks the fox spirit inside him could break and the beast could come out. If that happens, I fear for all of us. The heroes were alarmed to hear this. They are now very worried about the damage Naruto might cause, and the possibility of the Nine-Tailed Fox escaping. They should never have left him in the village. He is a danger to everyone around him. How could they let him grow up there? Vlad exclaims, which causes several in the audience, especially the villains, to look at him. Once again you prove that you are a fool. Didn't you learn anything from the Hulk? If those people weren't so mean to him, none of this would have happened. Toga is really angry with the vampire hero at this point. Besides, Naruto didn't even know they had sealed that beast in him. He didn't do anything to deserve people hating him. Kota was also upset. If they weren't mean to him, none of this would be happening. Thank you. At last someone who understands. Toga replied. Please Lord, don't let a tragedy happen, Ibara prayed. Back to the forest, Iruka runs after Naruto. Through the trees, Naruto keeps running. Iruka appears behind him. Iruka, Naruto. Naruto looks at him. Everything Mizuki said was a lie. Give me the scroll, hurry. Iruka appears in front of Naruto. He's coming after you to take it away. Something here is not right, said Nezu. He doesn't know exactly why, but he has a bad feeling about this. I agree, said Aizawa. Naruto stops on a branch, then jumps straight towards Iruka, sending Iruka flying backwards. Naruto lands on his feet and slides to a stop. He's panting hard. Iruka, kneeling, it can't be. Naruto pulls the scroll off his back and backs up into a tree, sliding to the ground. How did you know, Naruto? Iruka looks over his shoulder. Mizuki. Smoke rises around him, then disappears, revealing Mizuki that it was me and not Iruka. And I was right, sighed Nezu, seeing that Iruka was actually Mizuki using the transformation jutsu. That jutsu is quite useful. It almost fooled me, said Midoriya, unable to avoid remembering how Toga used her peculiarity to impersonate that girl Kami during the exam. Toga is surprised to see how Mizuki almost fooled Naruto. I guess I should take notes. That's actually a good trick. But how did Naruto know that wasn't Iruka? Asked Nejiire, making the others wonder too. Maybe he had a hunch. Suntory tried to guess. Naruto laughs, then smoke rises around him, revealing Iruka, and next to him is a small log. Iruka, because I am Iruka. Or because it wasn't Naruto, Nejiire said, seeing that Naruto was actually Iruka. That actually makes a lot of sense, said Midoriya. Mizuki stands up. You're a fool. Naruto reveals himself, sitting behind a tree to the side, holding the scroll. Why are you protecting that freak? He's the one who wiped out your family. Iruka, I don't care what you say, because you won't get your hands on that scroll. Naruto didn't kill anyone. He didn't do it. Eri was quite upset right now with Mizuki for trying to make Iruka hate Naruto. Iruka won't be fooled by what Mizuki says. He knows Naruto is innocent, Mirio said. No way will they allow Mizuki to get hold of the scroll, exclaimed Katsuma. Naruto leans forward. Angry Mizuki, as if you can stop me, don't you understand? Naruto is like me. Iruka, how so? Mizuki, he wants the scroll for his own power and his own revenge. That's how beasts are. It will pour all its anger into the scroll and destroy everything. Iruka, you're right. Now everyone is shocked by what Iruka just said. See, that can't be true. Uraraka is quite shocked by what she is seeing. I thought Iruka was different, but apparently not. Toga is disappointed to see this. She thought Iruka loved Naruto, but this seems to contradict this. Something here is wrong. This contradicts everything we've seen of Iruka so far. Nezu can't believe that Iruka really thinks that, especially with what he's already seen of him. I agree. This doesn't match what we've seen from Iruka, agrees All Might. It's impossible for him to think something like that, said Midoriya, remembering how Iruka saved Naruto and how he told him his story. But then why does he say that? Asked Eri. I guess we'll see about that, replied Mirio. Naruto gasps, surprised, then hugs the scroll, thinking so it's true. Iruka-sensei never believed in me. He thinks I'm a beast, some kind of freak. Iruka, that's what beasts are like. Naruto's eyes widen like saucers, but that's not what Naruto is. Naruto's eyes are still wide open. He's nothing like that. Naruto is unique. He works hard. He puts his whole heart into it. Sure, he messes up sometime, and everyone throws their weight on him, but his suffering only makes him stronger. That's what separates him from being a beast. So you're wrong. He's nothing like the nine-tailed fox. He is Naruto Uzumaki. From the village hidden in the leaves, Naruto is crying. Everyone is quite shocked to hear the answer. Some even cry with joy at how Iruka defends Naruto. Even the villains are moved to see this. I wish there were people like this in their world. Their world would be so much better if people supported them and didn't treat them like monsters because of their quirks. Although some of the heroes are uncomfortable about Naruto being the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox and the fact that he is a potential threat to the people of Konoha, so he does support Naruto. Toga is much happier to see this. Actually seeing him support Naruto in this way touches her. I knew it. Midoriya is really happy to see that he was not wrong about Iruka. It's true, Naruto is not the nine-tailed fox, nor a monster, said Mirio. Mizuki reaches his last shuriken on his back. HMPH. Do you really believe that? Dodge removes the shuriken from his back. Iruka, I was going to save you for later, but I changed my mind. Turns the shuriken. You're finished. Mizuki runs to Iruka. Iruka, thinking so this is it. No, Iruka can't die. Eri is really worried about the idea of Iruka dying, just like the heroes and students. Relax, Eri. I'm sure everything will be fine. Mirio was quick to reassure her. I really hope Iruka will be saved. He is so good with Naruto. I really don't want to see him die. Even the villains, except All for One, who doesn't care at all, don't want him to die since he was really good to Naruto and so far the only one who really stood up for him. I really wish I had had an Iruka in my life, Toga thought. Naruto suddenly jumps between them and headbutts Mizuki in the stomach, sending him flying backwards. Iruka's eyes grow large. Naruto skids to a stop, placing the scroll at his side. Iruka, thanking Naruto. Naruto stands up. Yes, Naruto is going to save Iruka. Eri was really happy to see this turn of events. I just hope everything turns out well. Ectoplasm was worried about both Naruto and Iruka, as well as being worried about what would happen if the fox escaped. Mizuki, looking at Naruto, not bad, for a little punk. Naruto, staring at Mizuki, half of his face shadowed. If you ever lay a hand on my sensei, I'll kill you. Mizuki, standing up. What big words. I can completely destroy you with a single move. Naruto, in his stance, 2 fingers crossed over his other 2 fingers to form a plus in front of his face. Take your best shot, fool, I'll give it back to you 1,000-fold. Mizuki, let's see you try. Show me what you can do, you 9-tailed fox. Finally, some action. Bakugo was excited to finally get to see a fight, as were some of the other students. Can Naruto really beat him though? What do you think, Deku-kun? Asked Iruka. Well, from what we've seen so far from Mizuki, although it's not much, we could see that he has mastered the kunais and shuriken, besides the transformation jutsu, and if he teaches at the academy he must be someone at least moderately good in the ninja art. Naruto on the other hand didn't graduate from the academy, but he learned a technique from that scroll and also has the 9-tailed fox inside him, so I really wouldn't know who would win this fight, answered Midoriya. That's a good observation according to what we have been able to see. Good job, congratulated Nezu, this guy is really amazing. He really is very good at analyzing. Too bad he didn't consider being a villain. He would have been a very valuable asset, thought all for one. Iruka looks on, surprised, mouth slightly open. Naruto, shadow clone jutsu. A poof is heard and Iruka's eyes widen like saucers. All around him are hundreds of Naruto clones in the trees and on the ground. Iruka, thinking Naruto those aren't just illusions. Iruka sits up, smiling, they're solid clones. He's mastered an extremely advanced jutsu. Now everyone is quite impressed to see the technique Naruto learned from the scroll. I impressive, aid Midoriya while writing down this information in his notebook. Also because it reminds him of a certain villain's ability. Look, Jin, that looks like your quirk, said Toga, quite surprised by this fact. It's true, no, it's not. Twice was also impressed by this fact. Now kick that villain's ass. Katsuma was excited to see this fight. Mizuki looks around confused and overwhelmed. All the clones are shouting here and let's go. Mizuki, stumbles, what's this? Mizuki falls backwards and steps back. No. Now the beating of your life is coming, loser. Bakugo was really excited to see this villain get his ass kicked. And now he's acting like a coward. How pathetic. Shigaraki was not impressed with Mizuki at all. Yeah, that's not manly at all, said Kirishima and Tetsu. Everyone in the audience except for All for One cheers for Naruto to defeat Mizuki, something that surprised everyone that both heroes and villains support the same side. The heroes because they know that Mizuki is the villain, and because after seeing Hulk they learned that not necessarily someone similar is evil. Plus they didn't see evil in Naruto. And the villains because they can identify with Naruto and they hate Mizuki for being cruel to him. Naruto clone, if you don't come. Naruto clone, then we'll come after you. Get him, shouted several in the audience. Mizuki looks around, then yells. The camera pans to the forest above. You can hear banging from below. The scene cuts back to Mizuki slammed to the ground, with Naruto standing over him, rubbing his head and laughing. The scroll is on the floor next to him. Naruto, sorry I got carried away. He drops his hand. He looks at Iruka. Are you alright, Iruka-sensei? He did it, he beat him, exclaimed Pixie Bob. No matter how strong your enemy, a hero will always find a way to defeat him, All Might said. Well, if he got a little carried away, but that guy deserved it, said Bondo. Everyone was very happy that Naruto won the battle and managed to protect Iruka. They also hoped they would never see Mizuki again and that he would spend a long time in prison for his crimes. Midoriya wrote down Mizuki's fate in his notebook. Mizuki alive, defeated by Naruto and taken into custody. Iruka lets out a breath, thinking it's amazing he wants to surpass all the Hokage, and I'm beginning to believe that he could do it. Lets out another breath. Naruto, come here a minute, I have something I want to give you. Yes, I also believe that Naruto can surpass all the Hokage. If he works hard and makes an effort, he will surely achieve it, said All Might, in the same way that young Midoriya will surpass me and all the previous heirs of One for All. This also goes for you students. If you work hard and put in effort, all of you will become great heroes, Nezu said to encourage his students. I say the same. Strive very hard, my villains, to be better every day and surpass the heroes, said All for One. These words encouraged both heroes and villains. They are determined to train hard and get better and better. Yes, I'm going to try really hard to surpass my father's masterpiece, damn, I thought. Scene changes to town. All the ninja are together, complaining about not being able to find Naruto. Ninja number 1, are you telling me that no one can find Naruto? Ninja number 2, no idea. Ninja number 3, this is bad news, we're going to have to smoke him out or something. Hiruzen approaches, pipe in his mouth. Hiruzen, there's no need to worry anymore, everyone looks. Ninjas, Mr. Hokage. Hiruzen, the scroll's safe, Naruto will be back soon. The scene opens in nothing but black. Well, luckily everything was resolved, said Midnight. It's good to see that Naruto is no longer in trouble and Mizuki was arrested, said Kendo. Naruto, sensei, how much longer? You see a slit open on the screen, it's shiny. And then it turns black again. Iruka, it's okay now, you can open your eyes. Naruto widens his eyes. Iruka is standing there, smiling, holding Naruto's glasses in his hands. Iruka is missing his headband. The sun shines brighter, revealing them both standing. Iruka, congratulations, you graduate. Naruto is standing there, shocked on his head. Is Iruka's leaf headband, and to celebrate, I have a surprise, we're going out for ramen tonight. Oh, that's so sweet. Ashido, Hagakure and the Brava squealed with joy when they saw the cute moment between Naruto and Iruka. And Naruto finally graduated. Excellent. Eri was very happy for Naruto. And they're going to celebrate with ramen. That's great, said Mirio. Also very proud of Naruto. Speaking of ramen made me want to eat. During the interlude I will prepare ramen, said Lunch Rush. I can't wait, Mirio said, to which several in the audience agreed. Naruto's lips are trembling. He is calm. Iruka opens his eyes. Naruto, Iruka-sensei. Naruto jumps towards him, hugs him, and Iruka falls back. Iruka, laughing, that hurts. Naruto chuckles and Iruka pats him on the back and says, oh come on. They start to play. They really are adorable together. Ashido was very happy to see this scene, as was almost the entire audience. Even the villains were happy to see Naruto happy with someone who didn't treat him like a monster for something that wasn't his fault. Iruka, thinking, Naruto, this is just the beginning. The path becomes more difficult now that you are a ninja, but if I told you that, I guess it would ruin the moment, so I'll tell you later. More than 500 bowls of ramen and credits. When the episode ended, everyone was thinking about what they saw: Naruto, Iruka, the nine-tailed fox, and everything they had seen in this new world. Although Naruto was a mischievous and somewhat problematic boy, he only wanted to be accepted and recognized by the people of his village. He wanted them to see him as one of them, not as a monster. Some in the audience identified a lot with him, especially Shinso, who remembers how they made fun of his quirk for being a villain and decided to become a hero to prove them wrong. In a certain way, Naruto resembles him in his desire to be Hokage. Iruka was Naruto's sensei, and although he could be somewhat strict with him, he actually cared for him and did not reject him because they had sealed the beast that killed his parents. And Mizuki, the villain of this episode, turned out to be someone who simply wanted to take advantage of Naruto, and someone who even the villains found unpleasant, since they also sympathize with Naruto, who has a similar story to some of them and remind them in a certain way of the Hulk. This story so far was reminding them in a certain way of the Hulk, and the fact that they should not judge people for what they are, but for who they are. Although some still feel nervous with the idea that Naruto is a Jinchuriki, Iruka is right about something. This has just been the beginning, and what is coming now will be much more difficult, Felicity said, especially now that he has graduated from the academy. And what will happen now? Gyro asked, quite curious about this fact. Let's say that Naruto will meet new friends and enemies and live many adventures, in addition to pursuing his dreams. But hey, you'll see later, Felicity replied, making everyone in the audience excited to see more of Naruto and what awaited him. But hey, let's see the next episode. The episode begins with a view of Konoha and the Hokage rock. The next thing they can see is a photographer who asks Naruto if he wants to take a picture looking like that, to which he says yes, so the photographer ends up agreeing to take the picture. Photographer, but then don't blame me. He takes the photo and everyone can see what Naruto looks like in the photo. But what is that? Bondo can hardly believe his eyes, as can several in the audience. How can you think that taking a picture looking like that is a good idea? Yaoyorozu was equally shocked by this fact. I just hope it's not for something important. Ida is really upset by Naruto's attitude of not taking things seriously, although on the other hand he understands a little since Naruto had a very different life from his. Meanwhile, the villains and the children in the audience laugh at Naruto's behavior. This is hilarious, Spinner said while laughing. Episode title: My name is Konohamaru. I wonder who Konohamaru is, Midoriya asks as he writes it down in his notebook, since if it's the title of the episode, Konohamaru must be someone important. I guess we'll see, Uraraka replies, to which Izuku nods. The scene cuts to the academy, where Hiruzen and another ninja are looking at Naruto's ninja log with the bizarre photo taken by the photographer at the beginning of the episode. Naruto laughs as he explains why he decided on that pose for the photo. This is too much. Naruto has to learn to take things seriously. Ida was getting more and more frustrated with Naruto. Although he understands that he had a life different from his attitude is driving him crazy. Some in the audience laugh as they find Naruto's attitude amusing. I'm really glad he's not one of my students. I'd go crazy if I had him in my class, Aizawa says, to which several teachers nod in agreement. Hiruzen orders Naruto to take the picture again, which Naruto refuses. Naruto really has to learn to respect his superiors. Ida can hardly believe Naruto's attitude. Hiruzen, we can't accept this photo. Naruto, yes. Well, I won't do it again. Did you really think they were going to accept that photo? Kendo was quite surprised by this fact because if someone tried to do something like that with the photos of the hero licenses, I doubt very much that anyone would allow it. Definitely something like that would not be allowed on hero licenses, Cementos said, seeing that the Hokage does not seem willing to change his mind. Naruto uses the Sessi Jutsu to try to change his mind, which causes the surprised Hiruzen to bleed from his nose and fall out of his chair. This is the last straw. Now use that perverted trick on the Hokage. Doesn't this kid know what respect is? Ada couldn't believe what he had just seen. This was already too much. The teachers agree with him. Pixie Bob, Yaoyorozu, Gyro, and Midoriya blush with embarrassment at this scene. The perverts in the audience drool, seeing the Sessy jutsu again. While some in the audience, the villains, and some of the students laugh as they find Naruto's attitude and the Hokage's reaction quite amusing. Even Midnight can't help but giggle at the Hokage's reaction. Stop laughing. Don't you see that you are disrespecting the Hokage? Ada rebukes those who laugh. I'm sorry, class rep, but that was so much fun. Kirishima was trying his best to contain his laughter. We are heroes. We shouldn't make fun of the Ho. Ada was interrupted. Shut up, Four Eyes. Who cares? The one who fell for that trick was that old man. Probably because he's a pervert, Toga answered. Nonsense, Ada replies. Naruto is surprised to see the reaction Hiruzen has had while a child watches what happens outside the room. I wonder who that child is, Fayumi says. If I had to guess, I'd say it's Konohamaru, Natsuo replies. I guess we'll find out soon, Shoto says. Once Hiruzen has recovered a bit, he praises Naruto for his technique while saying it's ingenious, but warns him not to do it again. Naruto looks embarrassed. He was lucky the Hokage only gave him a warning, Shota said, to which several in the audience nodded in agreement. Although he is not mistaken, that technique is very ingenious, Minda says, drooling at the thought of this, which causes Asui to hit him with her tongue. Hokage, where is your band, Naruto? You're supposed to use it. Naruto, I'm not going to put it on until orientation. I don't want to dirty it. Orientation? What's that? Midoriya asked, wanting to know more about this world. You'll find out in the next episode, Felicity replied, which made the audience interested in this fact and what they would see later. But for the moment they turned their attention to the episode they were watching. Hiruzen, you love your band very much, but your photo, which is supposed to identify you, makes you look like a clown. It is for ninja training and missions. It is the key to your future. Look at your photograph. You can't even distinguish who it is. Naruto, it's all right. How did I know that all of this would be so complicated? It's not that difficult. You just have to take a picture where you don't look like a clown, Ada replied. The scene changes. The boy who is watching everything takes out a shuriken. Hiruzen looks in the direction of the boy, causing Naruto to look there as well. The door opens, revealing Konohamaru. Konohamaru. Hey old man, I challenge you. Runs to where Hiruzen is. I'm going to beat you and become the 5th Hokage. Stumbles and falls to the ground groaning. Several in the audience laugh at the scene, since the boy who wanted to be the Hokage couldn't even get to where he was without tripping. It seems that Naruto is not the only one who doesn't know that he has to respect his superiors. Ida said, I don't understand why the Hokage allows this kind of thing. Hiruzen, my grandson, another headache. I think that answers your question, Ida, says Yaoyorozu. It's his grandson, Iruka says, somewhat surprised by this fact as well as several in the audience. Why do you treat your grandfather like this? Eri asks, quite surprised by this fact since she would never think of doing something like that to her grandfather whom she loved and respected. Eri is probably just playing. He sure loves his grandfather very much, Mirio replied. Yeah, his grandfather doesn't seem to take it the wrong way either. It's probably just a game, Midoriya said, to which Eri nodded in understanding. Ibisu walks in and sees Konohamaru lying on the ground. Konohamaru, something bothered me. Ibisu, are you well, honorable grandson? By the way, there's nothing here you're tripping over, it is clear. That kid is a crybaby. There was absolutely nothing for him to trip over, Mahoro said. That other guy is right, Katsuma agreed. Naruto, who is this dwarf? Ibisu, it's that boy, the nine-tailed fox, of course. It's the worst of the problem guys. Several in the audience, especially the villains, were upset by Ibisu's words, seeing another example of how the citizens of Konoha look down on Naruto. Konohamaru turns to Naruto and points at him. Konohamaru, all right, you're the one who tripped me, right? Naruto gets angry and grabs him by the shirt. Naruto, you tripped yourself, you slimy kid. How can you blame Naruto for that? He did absolutely nothing. Tetsu said, somewhat annoyed by Konohamaru's attitude. That's not manly at all, Kirishima said, also annoyed. Ibisu, hey, you, get your hands off him right now. He is the honorable grandson of the 3rd Hokage. Naruto looks at Ibisu and then at Konohamaru. Konohamaru, that will stop him, just like everyone else. Now that you know who I am, you wouldn't dare lay a finger on me. What's wrong with you? I thought you were going to hit me, rude boy. Are you afraid because the 3rd Hokage is my grandfather? That boy is irritating. He thinks that because he is the Hokage's grandson he deserves special treatment, Spinner said, annoyed. Naruto, I don't care if he's your grandmother. Hits him on the head. Really? Did you hear? Although that reaction was too much, Komori says when she sees that Naruto hit Konohamaru. Nah, that brat had it coming, Spinner replied, to which some in the audience partially agreed. Konohamaru, ouch. This boy is different. Konohamaru falls to the ground. Ibisu looks at everything with a surprised face. Hiruzen is sitting calmly in his seat. Ibisu, he is so surprised that he doesn't utter a word. Hiruzen, this doesn't look good. That boy is right about something. Naruto is not like everyone else. He is different, Midoriya said, to which the audience nodded in agreement. Abisu, listen carefully. You are the honorable grandson of the honorable third Hokage. You can't let vulgar people like this goad you into beatings even if they deserve it. You will notice that he is inferior to you. You should not lower yourself to his level as your elite ninja trainer. You'll know that I'm never wrong because I'm always right. I am above other coaches. So listen to my every word. Your goal is to become the next Hokage, and I can teach you the best way to do it. In fact, thanks to my great abilities, I can easily and quickly take you to the top, but you must always be close to me. You understand me, right, honorable grandson? Notes that Konohamaru has disappeared and looks around looking for him. Ouch. Now where did he go? Well, you're right about something. If you want to be the next Hokage, you can't go around fighting with just anyone, Cement said. Though that guy is PPY, what is that fast and easy? Literally in life that does not exist. Miyamasa said. If he had paid more attention to the Hokage's grandson than to all that boring speech, he would have noticed that he left. Makoto answered. Hiruzen, I think he followed Naruto, but I have no idea where they went. Abisu looks at Hiruzen. Is he with Naruto? What a mess. Runs out of the room. Honorable grandson. Hiruzen, how did they raise him to grow up like this? My grandson is very determined already with this. He has 20 attacks, and if he starts running around with Naruto, it's bound to get worse. Naruto won't teach her anything that bad, will he? 20 attacks. I would really like to know what kind of education they gave that child. Ida was quite surprised to see such disrespect to a senior. It's just a game, Tenya, Midoriya replied, to which Ida nodded in agreement, although he still believes that Konohamaru should be more respectful. Naruto isn't going to teach him anything bad, is he? Kaminari asks. The worst thing Naruto could teach her is the sexy jutsu, Kirishima says. What a great idea, says Minder, excited by the idea of seeing another sexy jutsu, which causes Gyro to hit him with her earphone jack. Scene changes to the streets of the village. Naruto is walking. Konohamaru watches him from a distance and follows him. Naruto realizes that he is being followed. Konohamaru hides under a sheet. Naruto turns to see him, decides to ignore him and keep walking. Konohamaru chases after him. Well, it seems that Naruto has an admirer, said Recovery Girl. Yes, obviously that boy was very impressed with Naruto. Ectoplasm replied. Naruto, I know you're following me, so that's enough. It's so obvious it's pathetic. Konohamaru, laughing, you found out my disguise? Huh, it's not that hard to find out. It's terrible at camouflage, Hagakure said. Naruto's right, it's so obvious it's pathetic. That other trainer brags a lot, but he didn't even teach him how to camouflage, Kirishima replied. Konohamaru, all the rumors about you are true. You are strong. He approaches Naruto and asks him to be his trainer and teach him how to do the sexy jutsu. Naruto at first thinks it's a joke, but Konohamaru convinces him by calling him boss, for which Naruto decides to accept. The audience is shocked to see this exchange between Naruto and Konohamaru, as Konohamaru asks Naruto to teach him the sexy jutsu. It seems that he wanted to learn how to do the sexy jutsu, Kirishima says. Oh, how wonderful. I wonder what it will look like. Minda drools at the thought of seeing another sexy jutsu, as do the perverts in the audience, which causes Isui to hit him with her tongue. Great, we'll see more of that disgusting technique. Gyro can't help but groan at the thought of seeing someone else performing the sexy jutsu, which made some in the audience nod in agreement. The scene changes. Naruto and Konohamaru are seen walking. Naruto tells Konohamaru that if he wants to be a great ninja, he must learn to control his chakra. Chakra, what's that? Kaminari is quite confused by the term since it's the first time he's heard something like that. I don't know, but we'll probably find out, Midoriya answers. I've never heard of anything like that, said Yaoyorozu, quite confused by the term chakra. Konohamaru thinks it sounds like cat, to which he responds by saying, I said your chakra. Konohamaru asks if he meant chakra, but Naruto tells him not to question it, and that real ninjas say chakra, which impresses Konohamaru. Naruto realizes that Konohamaru believes everything he says. Now I am confused. Is it chakra or chakra? What are they supposed to be? Says Kaminari, who doesn't know what they mean. The chakra, according to the Hindu doctrine, are energy centers located in the human body, Yaoyorozu explained. Since she remembers having read about the chakra, though I don't know how it works in this world. We'll probably see an explanation of how chakra works in this world, said Midoriya, who is thinking about how chakra works in this world, to which the others in the audience nod, also interested in this fact. That boy is someone very impressionable, Hagakure said, seeing how easily Konohamaru believes what Naruto says. Well, he's just a kid, Snipe replied, which annoyed the kids in the audience a bit, since being kids doesn't mean they believe whatever they're told. He proceeds to explain what chakra is, but Konohamaru beats him to explaining this concept. Konohamaru, Chakra is the elemental energy of life used to perform a jutsu. A drawing is seen illustrating Konohamaru's explanation that the ninja arts combine the physical energy of every cell in the body with mystical energy that is intensified through training and experience. When these two chakras blend together, special hand positions allow the ninja to focus that combination of energies for an advanced jutsu. Konohamaru is seen reading this explanation of a scroll and Naruto watching. Naruto calls him a know-it-all for reading this explanation of the scroll. The audience is shocked to hear the explanation about chakra, and since it is used to perform jutsus, Midoriya rushes to write down the explanation about chakra in his notebook. So, to see if I understood correctly, the chakra is a form of energy that they use to perform their techniques, such as the Sessi Jutsu, the change of forms, or the clones, right? Asked Ida. Indeed it is, Felicity replied, surprising everyone in the audience. In this world, people have the ability to manipulate their internal energy, the chakra, and use it to execute techniques such as jutsus, although that does not mean that all people can manipulate it correctly, since there are people who are unable to use the chakra. Finish explaining, which left the audience surprised and thoughtful. So, does that mean we couldn't learn techniques like the shadow clone jutsu, or the shape-shifting jutsu? Wonder Kodai. Well, since you don't have chakra like the people of this world, you couldn't learn to perform those techniques. Although if you have similar quirks, maybe you can try some of those techniques, Felicity said, though I don't think they can reach the level of the Naruto characters. This disappointed the audience a bit, but they are still determined to see the abilities of the people of this world. Even if they can't learn techniques like shadow clones, maybe there are some techniques that they can at least partially imitate. Naruto tells Konohamaru that ninja techniques come with hard work. That's true, without hard work, you'll never get anywhere, All Might said, to which the rest of the audience, including the villains, agreed, as they recognized that without effort they'll never get anywhere. Naruto asks Konohamaru to show him a transformation to measure his abilities and tells him to transform into a girl in a store, to which he agrees. Well, this is going to be interesting, All for one said, interested in seeing Konohamaru's skills, as was everyone in the audience. Konohamaru transforms into a fat, unattractive version of the girl. The audience is shocked and disgusted to see the form that Konohamaru took. It looks disgusting. Kaminari was disgusted seeing Konohamaru's transformation. And I wanted to see a Sessi girl. Minda was very disappointed to see the transformation, which caused Gyro to hit them both with her earphone jack. Naruto, visibly uncomfortable, tells him that the clothes are like the girl Konohamaru was trying to imitate, appears behind Naruto furious and ready to hit him. Well, the clothes do look alike, Bondo said, somewhat uncomfortable because of Konohamaru's shape and the girl's attitude. What I don't understand is the girl's attitude, Kaminari said, confused by this fact. She probably thought they were making fun of her, Gyro replied, to which the audience nodded in understanding. Many of them would also be offended if someone did something like that to them. The girl tells Konohamaru to make her prettier the next time he transforms into her. Konohamaru mentions that she scares him. Naruto, on the ground and hit, wonders why the girl hit him if it was Konohamaru who turned into her. Konohamaru is right. Girls can be very scary, Minda said, to which some of the men in the audience agreed. Although Naruto is right, why did they hit him if it was Konohamaru who did that lousy transformation? Shoji said without understanding this fact. It's probably because Konohamaru is the Hokage's grandson and the others don't dare to mess with him so as not to look bad with the Hokage. From what we saw, Naruto was the only one who hit him so far. From the reactions of the others when he did it, it was evident that no one else dared to do it, Midoriya replied, remembering that scene and how the characters reacted to Naruto's action, to which several in the audience agreed, finding this reasonable explanation. Scene changes to a shop that sells erotic magazines. Naruto says they're going to do some research on female beauty. Several in the audience, especially the heroes, can't help but get annoyed with this, seeing it as something highly inappropriate to teach a child. Oh, how wonderful. Minda can't help but drool at the idea of investigation, which causes the women in the audience to give him dirty looks, and Asui to hit him with her tongue. Will you please shut up? That is highly inappropriate for someone of Konohamaru's age. Mina was really angry at this point with Minda for his perverted comments and with Naruto for showing that to Konohamaru, which several in the audience agreed with. Naruto and Konohamaru enter the store, taking advantage of the fact that the cashier is asleep, and they look at a magazine and their pictures of Sessi women. This is definitely inappropriate, Yaoyorozu said, extremely upset by this. But if you want to learn the Sessi Jutsu, you should watch a bit to get an idea and be able to do it correctly. Otherwise it would become a very unattractive thing, Kaminari said, trying to defend Naruto and Konohamaru. Although the others in the audience understand at this point, that doesn't mean they find it likable. As they watch, the cashier wakes up and, quite annoyed, tells them that it is not a library, before kicking them out of the store. That's something quite understandable. I would have done the same thing by kicking them out, says Vlad, since he would never allow two children to see that kind of thing, to which several in the audience agreed. Although the broom was a bit excessive, Away said, a little scared by this. Naruto says that they have reached their last stop, and asks Konohamaru to show everything he has, to which Konohamaru agrees. They both proceed to transform Naruto into his sassy girl but keeping his clothes, while Konohamaru still maintains the appearance of the last time he tried but with his clothes. I wonder what they mean by last stop, Hagakure said, though she wasn't sure if she really wanted to know. Just seeing what they've become gives me a bad feeling, Kendo said, quite uncomfortable. Konohamaru couldn't even manage to look good. He still looks so ugly, Minta said, disappointed by this fact, which caused the women in the audience to give him angry looks. They both enter the place. Screams of women are heard yelling, Naruto, you again. Get out of the women's locker room. It's only for women. Now the audience, especially the women, feel quite upset to see where Naruto and Konohamaru got themselves. This is really gross. Mina was really grossed out by the fact that Naruto and Konohamaru went into a women's locker room, especially since it reminded her of when Minta peeked into the girls' bathroom. And that you say so, Gyro answered, also disgusted. Scene changes to a forest. Naruto is seen beaten up. Naruto wonders why they only hit him and not Konohamaru, to which Konohamaru apologizes, saying it's because he's the Hokage's grandson. It seems you were right, Deku-kun, about why they hit Naruto and not Konohamaru, Iruka said, although she couldn't help but think that it was unfair. Yes, it seems so, Midoriya replied. Naruto tells him not to worry about it and that he is ready to learn the sexy jutsu. Konohamaru gets excited about this and prepares to practice it. Naruto explains that the trick to this technique is to put the curves in the right places. Well, it seems Naruto didn't take it too badly, Iruka said. It's not that it's Konohamaru's fault either, Nejiru answered. Or if, finally something good, said Minta, as he drooled at the thought of seeing the Sessy Jutsu being practiced, prompting Asui to hit him with her tongue. Konohamaru transforms into an unattractive fat girl in his underwear. Ugh, it still has a long way to go. It looks horrible, said Kaminari. It really is a very unappealing sight, Minta replied. With all your research you should be able to do a little better, which caused Gyro to hit them both with her earphone jack. Well, he still needs practice. He'll surely improve, Rin replied, to which the rest of the audience agreed. Even those who don't like Sessy Jutsu recognize that with practice they can improve their skills. Naruto replies that he should make his thinner. Konohamaru tries again, but Naruto says that he needs more curves. Konohamaru tries one more time without success. This is really embarrassing, Gyro complained as she watched the practice, to which some in the audience agreed. Scene changes to Hokage Rock, showing Abisu, who is looking for Konohamaru. Abisu, Naruto, what have you done to the honorable grandson? What will be his evil plan? Where did those two go? Watches Konoha from the top of Hokage Rock as he tries to figure out where they are. I am a Jounin, the highest level of ninja, and I'm an elite trainer for future Hokages. Any parasite that infiltrates my student will be destroyed. He walks away so quickly that he seems to have disappeared. That guy again. Toga was quite upset to see Abisu again, since he is prejudiced with Naruto and arrogant, who believes himself a lot, to which several in the audience sighed in frustration since they don't like Abisu very much either. But at least he's not as bad as Mizuki, even though Abisu can be annoying and irritating. There is something good I can say about him, Felicity said, causing several in the audience to look at her. And that would be, Kodai, curious why it would be the positive of Abisu. He genuinely cares about Konohamaru and wants him to achieve his dream of being Hokage, Felicity responds, to which the audience briefly contemplated this, since although what they saw of Abisu so far they did not like it, it is true that they did not see other things from which they make them have a different opinion. Scene changes to the forest where Naruto and Konohamaru are. They are both sitting on a log talking. Naruto asks why he is obsessed with his grandfather, to which Konohamaru replies that his grandfather chose his name in honor of the village, but that nobody calls him that, since they only see him as the Hokage's grandson and nobody knows who he is, that he can't stand it. He feels invisible, and he hates that, this being his reason for being Hokage, who wants people to recognize it for him and not for his grandfather. These words surprised the audience since Konohamaru's reasons for being Hokage are similar to Naruto's, since he also wants to be recognized for who he is and not for things he did not choose. Some in the audience identify with this, especially Shoto, since he wants to be a hero himself and doesn't want to be seen as Endeavor. Naruto tells him to be realistic and asks him if he thinks people will accept a dwarf like him, that a child can't become Hokage in a day or two, and if he wants to be a true Hokage he has to beat him first he in battle. Well, he's right about something. You can't become Hokage in a day or two, in the same way that you don't become the #1 hero in a day. It took me years to become the symbol of peace, and all it was thanks to effort and hard work, said All Might. To which the others agreed. Even the villains agree with this, since they recognize that if they want something they must work to achieve it. Scene changes to Hokage Rock. Hiruzen looks at the stone faces, Iruka appears. Iruka tells the Hokage that he has been looking for him for Naruto, asking if he has resubmitted his photo for ninja identification. He also mentions that he has scolded him at the ramen stand, but that Naruto is excited about becoming a genin as an apprentice ninja, as he believes that it will change how the people of the village see him. The Hokage replies that he is afraid that Naruto's dream will not come true, since people do not change easily. And that being the Jinchuriki of the fox, although not everyone knows the truth, only those who fought the fox 12 years ago know. Thanks to his decree that prohibits talking about the subject and that those who failed to comply with it were severely punished, a flashback of the fox's attack is seen, this being the reason why the children do not know of the connection between Naruto and the fox. As long as this continues, Naruto has a hope of being accepted, this being the wish of the fourth Hokage. Before he sacrificed himself for the village, he asked that Naruto grow up to be considered a hero, which surprises Iruka. Flashback of a baby Naruto. Hiruzen explains that the fourth Hokage defeated the fox by sealing it into a newborn Naruto, thus saving the village by containing the fox in his own body, which is why Naruto is a hero. But unfortunately not everyone sees it that way, letting themselves be carried away by fear, and that many villagers believe that the beast could take over Naruto's body. Some believe that Naruto is the beast. The children feel the fear and hatred of their parents and imitate them. Do you know what the ancestors said about these things? Iruka, what did they say, Lord Hokage? Hiruzen, when people dismiss the existence of a person and then look at that person, their gaze becomes icy. Iruka listens to all this, horrified, as icy as a snowstorm. The audience, especially the villains, are surprised to hear this. The villains, because they can perfectly understand being rejected and therefore wanting to reject them too. This is basically the perfect definition of why they became villains. Besides, they can avoid feeling sorry for Naruto, the heroes and students, because the fourth Hokage intended for Naruto to be recognized as the hero who saved the village from the nine-tailed fox, and instead people ended up being afraid of him, seeing him as a monster, and the fact that citizens rejecting Naruto could cause Naruto to act accordingly. In a way, this is a bit like what villains say. Some of the heroes even worry that Naruto could become a villain, especially being the Jinchuriki of the fox of the nine tails. I think Naruto will achieve his dream, said Midoriya, to whom Naruto's situation reminds him a bit of himself since he suffered discrimination for being quirkless, although to a lesser extent than Naruto, and was also told that without a quirk never he could be a hero. But here he is fulfilling his dream in the same way that he expects Naruto to fulfill his. Although that won't be easy. We've already seen what people think of Naruto, said All Might, who, although he supports Naruto, knows that it won't be easy to change people's minds. But if there is someone who can achieve it, it is him. Mirio said Sunday. People will see him as the fourth Hokage, wanted, as a hero. Yes, of course. By rejecting us they cause us to reject them too. That's how it works, Shigaraki said, to which the villains nodded in agreement. The heroes and students did not agree with this, although some think if it was something similar to this which led to villains becoming villains. Of course, they became villains because they wanted to, and they say these kinds of things just to justify themselves, Vlad King said, which caused the villains to look at him furiously. And what do you know? You don't know us. You don't understand our pain and suffering, so stop talking about us like you know us. Toga yelled furiously. As if a hero could understand our lives, Dabai replied, annoyed with the pro-hero. Scene change. Abisu is running through the trees. He arrives where Naruto and Konohamaru are, who notices presence. Oh no, he found them. Katsuma was now worried about Naruto and Konohamaru. Abisu, I found you. The nine-tailed fox looks at Naruto with an icy stare. Naruto looks at him defensively. That icy look, everyone sees me that way. I really don't like that guy, Toga complained when seeing how Abisu treats Naruto, to which several of the audience agreed with her. And the worst thing is that he's not the only one. There are many who treat Naruto in the same way, Nejire said, annoyed by this fact. Abisu, so, honorable grandson, it's time to go home. Konohamaru, of course not. I'm learning how to defeat my grandfather to be the next Hokage, don't interfere. That boy really has to learn to respect his superiors, Ida said, annoyed at seeing Konohamaru's attitude. That guy is his sensei and he should have some respect for him. Nah, that guy doesn't deserve anything, Toga replied, still annoyed with Abisu for the way he treats Naruto. Abisu, a Hokage is more than a simple fighter. He must know virtue, honor, wisdom, and must be trained in ninjutsu. You don't know a single jutsu. Well, that's true. A hero is also more than just a fighter. He must also have virtues and abilities like the ones Abisu sensei mentioned, Nezu says, to which the heroes agree. Konohamaru, transformation, successfully transforms into a sessy girl, which surprises Abisu. Hey, he hasn't given up. The audience is surprised to see that Konohamaru finally managed to learn the Sessy Jutsu and use the technique against Abisu, who, although surprised, shows no intention of giving up, and he used that vulgar technique with his sensei. This kid doesn't really know what respect is, Ida said, annoyed at seeing this, as did several in the audience. Oh yeah, finally, I can do it. Mineta yelled excitedly, as did Kaminari, to see that Konohamaru had finally learned how to do the Sessi Jutsu, causing Asui to hit both of them with her tongue. Abisu, enraged, what kind of outrageous technique is that? I am a gentleman. A vulgar technique like that will never work on me. Naruto looks at him angrily. Abisu, trying to drag Konohamaru, honorable grandson, we have to go right now. Naruto is turning you into a delinquent. Only I can put you on the right track to be a hokage. I think he's exaggerating. Although that technique is vulgar and unpleasant, that's why it makes him a delinquent, Jiraiya said. Though the sensei's reaction to seeing the Sessi Jutsu is very funny, Kirishima laughed, as did several in the audience. Konohamaru, resisting, leave me alone. Naruto, multi-shadow clone jutsu. Creates several clones. Abisu looks on. Konohamaru is surprised. Abisu, you don't impress me. I'm a jounin, an elite ninja warrior. I'm not a lightweight like Mizuki. Look how a real ninja defends himself. Scene change. Hiruzen is watching what is happening from his crystal ball. Scene changes again. Abisu prepares to fight, while Konohamaru supports Naruto. He's going to attack him, said Recovery Girl, quite worried about the situation. And on top of that, Abisu is more powerful than Mizuki, Awase said worriedly. That's true, Yuri asked, since she didn't see Abisu's abilities. She just heard him brag a lot about it. Actually, yes, Felicity said. Mizuki is a chunin, a mid-level ninja, while Abisu is a jounin, a high-level ninja. This surprised the audience. So how do ninja ranks work? Midoriya asked as he wrote down the information he had learned in his notebook. Well, it will be explained in more detail later, but I will give you a brief explanation about it. Ninjas recently graduated from the academy like Naruto are low-level ninjas, also called genin. They become chunin after passing the exams chunin. Then there are the jounin, and finally there is the kage. These ranks indicate their level of ability and influence the types of missions they receive. I finish explaining. Interesting, Midoriya thought as he wrote this down in his notebook. Naruto, transformation. He and his clones transform using the Sessi Jutsu, which surprises and embarrasses Abisu and Hiruzen, but makes Konohamaru happy. The Sessi clones approach Abisu by surrounding and hugging him, causing him to feel surprised and uncomfortable, until BLD comes out of his nose and he flies away, to be unconscious on the ground. You fell thanks to my harem jutsu. Hiruzen, who watched the whole scene from his crystal ball, he agreed with the shadow clones with his sexy jutsu, looking very embarrassed. What a silly ninja technique. And to think I almost fell for it too. The audience is now quite embarrassed to see how Naruto defeated Abisu. Some turned their eyes so they wouldn't see their expression. Midoriya hid his face behind his notebook so they wouldn't see that he was red as a tomato while he wrote down Abisu's fate. Abisu, alive, defeated by Naruto and humiliated. Released. The perverts in the audience were drooling watching the show. It's the best technique I've ever seen, Mineta said as he drooled at the sight of the harem jutsu, causing Gyro to hit him with her earphone jack. Haha, that technique was very effective. Midnight couldn't help but laugh at Abisu's reaction. That was so disgusting, Yaoyorozu complained, flushed with embarrassment. Even the hokage would have been affected by that technique, Ada said, surprised by this fact. I was right. The old man is a pervert. That's why he fell for that trick, Toga said, which caused Ida to give him a disapproving look, although he couldn't help thinking that she had a point. Scene change. Konohamaru is surprised by Naruto's abilities and wants to improve himself to be the next Hokage. Naruto, do you think it's simple? If you want to be Hokage one day, you will have to be the best of all the ninja. You will have to prove yourself so that everyone believes in you. Flashback. A young Naruto is seen being rejected by the people of the village, and Iruka, look at me despite having been rejected by everyone. I found a person who believed in me. To find that person I had to fall into many occasions, so make sure you are prepared. Konohamaru, for what? Naruto, for a lot of sweat and tears. While you learn to be a ninja, by the way, it's not easy to become a Hokage. Konohamaru remembers the words that Naruto told him earlier, that he will have to defeat him if he wants to be Hokage. Who do you think you are to lecture me? I will no longer let you be my boss. From now on we will be rivals. Both smile. Naruto, I couldn't have trained you, because tomorrow I start my advanced ninja studies, but I accept your challenge and one day we will fight for the title of Hokage, so we must look forward. Konohamaru. Naruto leaves and Konohamaru says goodbye. Hiruzen watches everything from his crystal ball. He is happy. Hiruzen, finally, I enter the path to be a true ninja. As the episode ended, the audience was left thinking as they watched the exchange between Naruto and Konohamaru, and how Naruto encourages Konohamaru to follow his dream but warning him that he has a long way to go, and how they both entered the path to become ninjas. The students identified with this, because if they want to be heroes and become number one, they must also work hard and the road will be full of sweat and tears. Besides that, they must be the best heroes of all and make the others believe in them. Midoriya thought about this, finding it similar to his own situation. Having been quirkless, no one ever believed that he could become a hero, but he found a person who believed in him and supported him in his desire to be a hero. And now, like Naruto, he is chasing his dream. Although some were still blushing with embarrassment over the harem jutsu, While the perverts in the audience were very happy, this episode was practically a dream come true with a lot of fanservice. Well, that was all for now. First of all, I have a little announcement to make, Felicity said. Everyone looked at her wanting to know what the announcement was going to be. I've decided to bring a new guest to watch the show with us. Someone from the world of Naruto. This surprised everyone a lot. And who will it be? Midoriya asked, secretly wishing it was Naruto. Anyone but Mizuki and the perverted sensei, Toga said. I'll just say that you're going to meet him after this short break, and then we'll continue watching the episodes in the company of this new guest. When everyone left the theater and went directly to the Hall of Fame, where they saw the new portraits on both sides in the section of heroes and allies, were the following portraits: Naruto the unpredictable ninja, Iruka the strict but fair sensei, Hiruzen Sarutobi third Hokage, Konohamaru Sarutobi the Hokage's grandson. When they looked at Naruto's portrait, not even the villains couldn't hide the sympathy they felt for him. Until now, Naruto was someone very similar to them, discriminated against and rejected by society for something that wasn't his fault. He was very different from both the heroes of their world, like the ones they had seen in the MCU. A young man who wants to be accepted by his village. That's Naruto, All Might said, feeling sad for not being able to help Naruto. I am convinced that Naruto is going to achieve his dream. It won't be easy, but if he doesn't give up, he will achieve it, said Midoriya, who firmly believes in Naruto and his dream. In a way, it reminds him a bit of himself. He's basically a Deku idiot version, said Bakugo, who Naruto reminds him too much of Deku, although he's much less smart. When they looked at Iruka's portrait, they couldn't help admiring it, because even though he lost his parents during the nine-tailed fox's attack, he didn't hate or resent Naruto, but was kind to him and supported him in his dream of being Hokage. Of the Hokage, well, they didn't know what to think since they didn't see much of his abilities, but he is the Kage, the highest rank in the ninja world, in addition to falling for Naruto's perverted techniques. But they hoped to see more of him in the future. They also wanted to see more of Konohamaru and his relationship with Naruto in future episodes. Meanwhile, Midoriya notes in his notebook the name of the Hokage since it was not mentioned in the chapters. After this, everyone looked at the portraits in the villains and allies section. Mizuki, manipulative sensei, Ibisu the closet pervert. These villains are really disappointing, Shigaraki said, to which the other villains nodded in agreement, since they didn't like the villains of these episodes. Well, this is just the beginning, Shigaraki. You will see villains in this world that are really interesting, Felicity said. I hope so, Shigaraki replied. Though I'm a bit surprised that this guy is in this section, Takage said, pointing to Ibisu's portrait. At first I wasn't sure if I should put it in this section or not, but I finally decided to put it here since it was the antagonist of the episode, Felicity replied, to which the rest of the audience nodded in agreement. Well, I have to go find our new guest. When I'm done, we'll see each other at the theater. After this, she disappeared. The others were wondering who would be the new guest, but they are also excited to meet someone from the world of Naruto. Museum. In the museum, there was now a new section dedicated to Naruto. The music of the credits also played at the entrance to this new section. There was a statue of Naruto with his leaf headband, smiling. New objects were also added to the glass containers: a Konoha ninja outfit, the Hokage outfit, shurikens, kunais, and headbands of the sheet. The students couldn't help but be surprised, as Naruto was quite unlike anything they had seen in the MCU. I can't wait to see more of him, Shinso said, as Naruto reminded him a bit of himself. And what do you say? I would also like to see more of his abilities. I want to train with him to see how strong he is, said Kirishima. Could you go to the danger room and fight him? Zero said. Maybe later. For now, I want to play in the arcade. Kirishima replied, do you want to come too, Bakubro?
PFF, okay, I accept Bakugo.
There are also statues of the nine-tailed fox and of Ibisu surrounded by the Sessi clones. I'm really glad that the fox doesn't exist in our world, Away said. A little scared to see the fox statue. I don't know if it could be defeated by the heroes of our world, to which the rest nodded in agreement. But this is without a doubt the best technique I've ever seen, Mineta said, drooling at the sight of the Sessi clones, which caused the rest to look at him in disgust and Gyro to hit him with her earphone jack. And what do you think about the music, Kyoka? Ashido asked, trying to change the subject. Not bad. It's better than many I've heard in the MCU, Gyro replied. Then everyone turned their attention to the 4 monitors that showed clips of the most memorable scenes of the chapters. The nine-tailed fox, the 4th Hokage versus the nine-tailed fox, the clones of Naruto versus Mizuki, and Naruto versus Ibisu. That was really amazing, said Tetsu as he watched the 4th Hokage fight against the nine-tailed fox. Though I wonder why the 4th Hokage didn't have a portrait in the Hall of Fame. He obviously deserved it. Probably because we haven't seen enough of him yet. Maybe he'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame later, Shishida said, to which the rest nodded in agreement. Now that I think about it, the 4th Hokage looks a bit like Naruto, Shinso said, to which the rest were surprised to notice this fact. I wonder if they are related. Well, I guess we'll find out as the story progresses, Hagakure replied. Bah, the best scene is without a doubt this one, Mineta said, pointing to the fight between Abisu and Naruto, prompting Gyro to hit him once more with her earphone jack. Game room. In the games room they could notice that there was a new section dedicated to Naruto. One of the new games was shuriken throwing, which consisted of throwing shurikens at moving targets to earn points. Added a new simulator game in Atmosphere called Naruto Simulator, and a Naruto Mortal Kombat where there were 4 characters: Naruto, Iruka, Mizuki, and Abisu. I'm going to beat you SHTTY hair, Bakugo said after choosing Naruto as his character. He may think that Naruto is an idiot Deku, but he recognizes that he is strong. Yes, whatever you say, Bakubro. Well, if you choose Naruto, I'll choose Iruka, I guess, Kirishima said. After choosing their characters, the stage selection appeared. For the moment, the only ones available were the forest, Konoha, the Hokage Rock, and the academy. Bakugo chose the forest as he thinks he can gain some advantage there. Very good. Let us begin, Kirishima said. You're going to lose, spiky hair, Bakugo yelled.
We'll see, Bakubro, Kirishima replied.
Award room. New prizes were added to the prize room, such as action figures of Naruto characters, for now only of the characters that also have a portrait in the Hall of Fame, and some extra ninjas. Trading cards, water cans, t-shirts, the jacket from Naruto, blade vests, blade headbands, and toy versions of shurikens and kunais. Sato, Oase, Tsuntori, Shiro, Rin, Fukadashi, and Kamakiri decided to play the minigames in order to win some of the prizes. Living room. Subsequently, the students met in the living room to discuss this new universe that they had contemplated. So, what do you think about this story? Asked Uraraka. Well, I really don't know what to say. I haven't seen much of this world yet, but what we've seen so far has been interesting. Yaoyorozu answered. I understand what you mean, said Midoriya. This world is not at all like what I imagine. A world of ninjas in which there are people with abilities similar to quirks, with the difference that they can learn them thanks to the chakra. That what we have been able to see is a form of energy that they can manipulate to perform jutsus. And what we have been able to see so far is just the tip of the iceberg. I want to see more about these ninjas and their abilities. Not to mention the existence of giant animals, like the fox and the toad that the 4th Hokage rode, Yanagi said, trembling slightly as she remembered the fox. The students trembled as they remembered the fox, and the fact that it is sealed in Naruto. Since this is an extremely dangerous creature, Koda even wonders if his quirk would work against the fox. But on the other hand, I would like to find out more about the 4th Hokage and about the giant ribbit toad, Asui said, very interested in this fact. Above all, I'm very interested in Naruto. He reminded me a bit of myself. Just like me, Naruto was rejected and wants to be accepted by people, Shinso said, since he remembers how they made fun of his quirk for being a villain and decided to become a hero to try that they were wrong. Somewhat similar to what happens to Naruto. Several students nodded in agreement as they can relate to Naruto and understand him. Even the villains like me, Uraraka said. That must be because they can also identify with Naruto. They are marginalized like him, but the difference is that despite all the rejection that Naruto suffered, he did not resent or hate the people of Konoha. He wants to be accepted by them, and that's why he wants to be Hokage, Midoriya said. The students silently thought about the reasons why the villains don't hate Naruto, wondering if the villains had gone through something similar to Naruto, as Toga and Twice watched the students from afar. They left shortly after hearing their opinions on why they didn't hate Naruto. Now that I think about it, Naruto looks a bit like you, Jamanye, physically, and in that he's not very smart, Gyro said, a little jokingly and a little seriously. Yes, of course, and you look like the girl who blushed when she saw him, but only physically. In attitude, both are different, Kaminari said in response. TFF, shut up, Gyro replied back, blushing at the embarrassment of being compared to Hinata again. AWW. I think those two make a really cute couple, Hagakure said, excited at the thought of them and wishing she could see more of them. As are you too, Ashido said, causing both Gyro and Kaminari to blush in embarrassment.
Cafeteria.
Meanwhile, the heroes had a meeting in the cafeteria, which Hawks decided not to attend, considering it boring and unnecessary, while Nezu went to the therapist once more. Amajiki ate a Hawaiian pizza. Mirio and Uri tried the ramen that Lunch Rush had prepared. The heroes were quite surprised by the story they had just seen, as it was nothing like anything they had seen before. Well, this story has been interesting, said 13. And that you say it. That Sessi Jutsu technique has been so much fun. I really want to try something like that. Midnight laughed, much to Aizawa's chagrin. Bringing that subject up, Cementos said, also somewhat annoyed when he remembered the Sessi Jutsu. Although we haven't been able to see much of this world until now, we do know that the ninjas of this world have abilities, some of which are similar to our quirks, except that they can learn them through training and an energy called chakra, which 12-year-old children can graduate and become ninjas. And as if this were not enough, there are also highly dangerous giant beasts that can seal themselves in people. I really don't understand how they allow a child that a dangerous creature like that inside. Being surrounded by people is basically a time bomb waiting to go off, Vlad said, which earned him looks from everyone else. Are you seriously going to go through with that? The Hokage doesn't think it's bad that Naruto is in the village and interacts with the others. We should at least trust the Hokage's judgment, Mandalay replied. Although Vlad disagrees, he decided not to argue. Though on the other hand, I'm glad the fox doesn't exist in our world. It would be a greater threat than any we've ever faced, since if the ninjas of that world could only defeat it by sealing it in Naruto, we wouldn't stand a chance against it, Tiger said, to which the others nodded in agreement. What I'm wondering at the moment is who will be the new guest that our hostess is going to bring present, Mike said. I just hope it's not the giant fox, Power Loader said, somewhat scared by the idea of being in the same room as the fox. By the way, where is Ragdoll? I haven't seen her since we left the theater, Pixie Bob asked, somewhat worried not seeing her teammate. I suppose he must be cleaning the theater with Kota, Mandalay said. Apocalyptic workshop. In the workshop, Melissa continued working on the boots, while Hatsum continued working on the arc reactor. Power Loader entered the workshop to join them a few moments later. Power Loader, I thought he had a meeting with the teachers, Melissa questioned when she saw him enter the workshop. The meeting is over and I wanted to come to work. Besides, someone needs to supervise Hatsum, Power Loader said as he glanced at Hatsum. I just hope she didn't cause you any trouble while I was gone. Oh, not at all. We both get along well, Melissa replied. After this exchange, the three inventors got down to work with their projects. Doomsday Bar. The villains were relaxing at the bar while Kurogiri served drinks. Takoyami and Kiwaro were arguing about Dark, obviously, and Black Shadow kept an eye on the villains in case any of them tried to attack his friend. All of them were quite thoughtful about the story they had just seen, which was unusual for them to see a story that they felt identified with, except for the Hulk and a little Captain America. He hadn't felt that way with any other character in the MCU. I must admit that it has been really interesting, Mr. Compress said while doing a card trick. Really not at all what I expected. Yes, what we could see in that world has been very interesting, said All for One, while remembering the fox. If only I could control that creature, no one would oppose me. It's a pity that I can't perform the Judas, but I wonder if I would be able to steal chakra and what other powers exist in that world. Takoyami and Kiwaro felt something intimidated by this statement, but since they know that All for One does not have access to that world, they do not worry too much. I really liked that kid. He reminded me a bit of myself, Spinner confessed as he recalls the discrimination he suffered for his reptilian-like appearance, and above all I really liked his attitude. And yet the heroes despise him just like those people. Dabai said, quite annoyed as he remembered Vlad's comments about Naruto and how he should be isolated from everyone.
They are heroes. Did you expect anything else from those hypocrites? Asked Shigaraki.
Not at all, Dabai replied. By the way, where are Toga and Twice? Don't tell me they're still spying on the heroes. They didn't tell me, but I think they're more interested in stories than spying, Kurogiri replied. Danger Room. After the meetings in the living room and in the cafeteria, some students supervised by Aizawa and Vlad, who after the Bakugo incident decided to personally supervise the students when they used the danger room to prevent another similar incident, decided to train in the danger room. At first they wanted to fight against Naruto or some character from his world, but unfortunately they were not yet available, because as La Brava explained, they had not finished them yet since it was not planned to take a break so early. Although this was disappointing, they decided to fight the MCU characters instead. Fukadashi, Sato, Gyro and Oase decided to fight with Iron Man, Uraraka, Yaoyorozu, Kodai and Kendo with Captain America, and Shoji, Shoto, Monoma and Tsuburaba would fight against with Thor, while Gentle watched the training and La Brava worked on Naruto's holograms. 1 hour later, lobby. All the characters were transported to the lobby. They realized that the rest time was longer this time than they usually had with Kiddo. They could also notice that Felicity was not alone. Besides Ragdoll, there was also a woman who they assumed was the new guest with red hair, violet eyes, and who was wearing a sleeveless high-necked blouse under a long, loose-fitting dress with a wristband on it, the left wrist, and sandals. Well, before we continue reading the story, let me introduce you to our new guest, Felicity said, pointing to the woman. She is Kushina, and she was a Konoha Kunoichi. Hello, nice to meet you. Greeting Kushina. What does that mean of was? Aizawa asked suspiciously. Oh, actually, I'm dead, you know, Kushina said, a little nervous. This statement quite surprised the audience. Does that mean you're a zombie? Mindo exclaimed, quite scared. That? Of course not. Let me explain. Kushina couldn't finish what she was going to say. And you're going to eat our brains. Kaminari joined in, also scared by the fact that Kushina is dead. Of course not. Kushina yelled furiously as she punched both of them to the shock of everyone else. Og, that hurt, Mindo exclaimed as he rubbed his head, which is where Kushina had hit him. Seems like I went a bit too far. You know, Kushina said, looking quite embarrassed by this fact. I have always been very temperamental, since I can remember. I try to avoid it, but I get excited and I get out of control. Finish explaining. Well, you weren't nicknamed Red Hot-Blooded Habanero for nothing, Felicity said, but hey, I'm going to explain a couple of things. Kushina was one of the many people who died during the Nine-Tailed Fox's attack on Konoha. The audience is shocked by this fact, while Kushina is saddened to remember that event, and the fact that it was Obaido who carried it out, in addition to the consequences it had, such as leaving her son orphaned, which would lead to the Uchiha massacre, the death of his dear friend Makoto, and Sasuke's descent into villainy. Before Naruto she was the Jinchuriki of the fox, and when she died they sealed the fox in Naruto instead, and before anyone asks anything you will see exactly what happened as we progress in the story. This also surprised the audience, but they refrained from asking, because they know that their hostess, like Kiddo, is not going to tell them anything that could be considered spoilers, while Midoriya wrote down in his notebook what he learned about Kushina. Okay, with nothing more to say, grab your food trays and let's watch the next episode. Naruto lives alone, Recovery Girl asked, somewhat surprised by the fact that a child of that age lives alone. Well, since he is an orphan and has no relatives to take care of him, he lives alone in this world. Children can live on their own once they are old enough to attend the academy, and their village government provides them with a place to live and funds so that they can support themselves until they graduate and earn a living on their own, Felicity explained, which surprised the audience as Midoriya jotted down this information in his notebook. And how old is that? Recovery Girl asked, wanting to know more about this fact because I don't think a child that young is prepared to live alone, especially seeing what he eats for breakfast. She added, somewhat worried about the fact that Naruto is not eating properly. Children start going to the academy at 6 years of age, so they can start living alone from that age, Kushina said, which shocked the audience immensely. 6-year-olds living alone, All Might exclaimed, absolutely stunned by this fact, as were several in the audience. Well, what happens is that my world is much harder than yours. Unfortunately, it is not strange that there are children who are orphaned at an early age, so they have to learn to fend for themselves, Kushina replied, while feeling sad about this fact, especially remembering the loss of her family and home when she was just a child and how she moved to a new place where it took her time to adjust to her new reality. And like many other children, including her son and that of her friend Makoto, had to grow up with the loss just like her. The audience is surprised and saddened except all for one who doesn't care at all to hear this explanation from Kushina, since although they witnessed the fact that Naruto and Iruka were orphans without their families, they expected the fact that this was actually something not so strange in this world. And that children at very young ages had to deal with it on their own was just devastating, and they couldn't help but feel sad about this fact. The students and the children because they can't imagine themselves in a similar situation. The heroes because such young children shouldn't be alone, and the villains because they don't like the idea of children being alone either, since many of them were alone before joining the league and it is not an experience they like. This also makes the audience wonder what exactly is going on in this world for something like this to be considered normal. But they'll probably find out as the story unfolds. But then again, what do you mean today is the day? Kaminari asked, a bit to change the subject and a bit because he wanted to know. It must be the orientation I talked about in the previous chapter, Midoriya replied. Episode title, Sasuke and Sakura, Friends or Foes? I wonder who Sasuke and Sakura are, Midoriya said, noting their names in his notebook, since if it's the title of the episode they must be important characters in this story. I guess we'll see. Deku-kun, Iruka replied, while Kushina is excited to see the beginning of the friendship between her son and the son of her friend Makoto. Naruto finishes eating breakfast and getting dressed. He smiles after grabbing his leaf headband. Scene changes to a view of Konoha. Naruto is walking and meets Konohamaru, who is hiding, trying to surprise him. Seriously, someone has to teach Konohamaru to camouflage. It's so obvious, it's pathetic, Fukadashi said in his speech bubble head. Yes, you're absolutely right, Yanagi replied to his classmate. Konohamaru, I caught you. Naruto stumbles after stepping on the blanket I use for camouflage. Naruto, what the hell do you think Konohamaru is doing? Konohamaru, that was a very cunning move. That's why I respect you as a rival. Naruto literally didn't do anything. He just stumbled, Kirishima said as he watched the exchange between Naruto and Konohamaru. Konohamaru still has a lot to grow up, Ribitasui said. He'll have time for that. He's still just a kid, Fayumi said. Naruto, I haven't done anything. Konohamaru, now face me, fairly puts his hands into position to perform a jutsu. Naruto, sorry, I have to go to orientation. It seems you were right, Deku-kun. Naruto will attend the orientation, just as you said, Iruka said. Yes, it looks like yes, Midoriya replied as he blushed at Ochako's words, which caused Ashido and Hagakure to giggle upon seeing the exchange between the two lovebirds. Konohamaru, what? Orientation. Naruto, that's right, from today I am a ninja, really. Points to his leaf headband, which shocks Konohamaru. That boy is really very impressionable, Kaibara said, seeing Konohamaru's reaction. Well, he's just a kid. And for Naruto he's his hero and role model, Tsuburaba responded to his classmate. to which several nodded in agreement. Kushina is particularly pleased to see how this boy looks up to his son and doesn't treat him like a monster. In a way, it reminds me of the admiration I feel for my older brother. I guess Konohamaru sees Naruto in a similar way, it is said, seeing the admiration Konohamaru feels for Naruto. Scene cuts to Sakura's room, where she is getting ready. Sakura's mother asks if it's not time for her to go, which causes Sakura to get upset. Inner Sakura, Cha, how long are you going to keep treating me like a girl? I'm already a ninja. And so, what is it supposed to be? Shoto said, somewhat surprised to see inner Sakura. I think it's a representation of her inner thoughts. Basically what she doesn't dare to express, Yaorazu replied, to which some students nodded in agreement with this opinion about inner Sakura. She shouldn't suppress her true self. If she contains her emotions, they will end up becoming stronger. She should be herself without caring about the opinion of others, Toga said, seeing how Sakura contained her true feelings, which reminded him of the time when the one who held back her true self in order to fit in, until she couldn't do it anymore. I wonder who this girl is, Midoriya said. If they dedicate this scene to him, it must be someone important. I guess we'll see, Iruka said, to which Izuku nodded in agreement. Scene changes. Sakura is walking, thinking that she is no longer a little girl. She must be about 12 years old. She may not be a little girl anymore, but she still has a lot to grow up, 13 said, seeing Sakura's attitude. She is one of those girls who wants to grow up too fast, said Recovery Girl, after seeing Sakura's attitude. You should really take your time growing up. You shouldn't want to rush things, All Might said, to whom Sakura somewhat reminded her students that due to the increased activity of the villains, they had been forced to grow up faster than he would have liked. He hopes that Sakura at least has some time to mature and isn't forced to grow up too fast. If you want to be a ninja, you'll probably have to grow up fast, Aizawa replied to his fellow teacher. But it should at least take some time to mature properly, All Might replied. In an ideal world, children would have time to grow and develop without major drawbacks. But unfortunately that is not possible. The world is full of injustices, and if she wants to be a ninja, she will have to face very difficult situations. The lives of a hero and a ninja are similar on that point, Aizawa replied, to which the rest of the heroes agreed. Well, you're not wrong about that, Kushina said. Sakura, I'm Sakura Haruno Kunoichi in training. So she is Sakura, Midoriya said as he notes this information in his notebook and draws a picture of Sakura. If her name is in the title, she will definitely be someone important in this story. What is a kunoichi? Melissa asked, since it was the first time she had heard this term. A kunoichi is a female ninja, Kushina replied. Ninja men are called shinobi, she finished explaining. To which Melissa nodded in understanding. Scene changes to the Yamanaka flower shop. Ino is leaving and sees Sakura. Haven't we seen that girl yet? Kaminari asked, since she looks familiar, but he can't remember exactly where he saw her before. Indeed, she's the girl from the first episode, the one who got mad at Naruto because the whole class got punished for her prank, Midoriya said, although she only had one line in that episode. We'll probably know more about her now. What did you say, Bakugo? That she was just an extra and we wouldn't see her again? Zero asked the explosive boy. Shut up, cellophane. Bakugo yelled, annoyed that he had been wrong about Ino. Now all that remains is for the other boy to appear, the one who was also in that scene, Shoji said. I bet he shows up too, Sato said. No, I may have made a mistake about the girl, but the pineapple head is not going to appear. He is just an extra, Bakugo said. Whatever you say, Bakubro, Kirishima replied sarcastically, earning him a glare from Bakugo, but he opted not to answer. I hope the girl who looks like Kyoka appears. I really want to see more of her and her ship by Naruto, exclaimed Ashido, excited, like Hagakure, La Brava and Kushina, who are also eager to see more of Hinata. That doesn't look like me, Gyro said, embarrassed at once again being compared to Hinata. Sakura and Ino look at each other. There is an obvious tension between the two of them. It seems that Sakura and that girl don't get along at all, Nejire said upon seeing them. I wonder if they're rivals or something. I guess so, Mirio said. Also noticing the tension between the two girls, I imagine we'll see more of their rivalry as the story progresses. Even the music in this scene marks that tension, Gyro said. Ino, good morning, Sakura. Sakura, good morning, Ino. So her name is Ino, Midoriya said while writing this information down in his notebook. Sakura walks towards Ino. Ino starts to walk beside her. Ino, so they finally let you graduate. What a surprise. Sakura, those classes are ancient history. Now we are both ninja and we are the same. You won't beat me again, Ino. There is definitely a rivalry between those two, Nejire said, seeing their exchange. I wonder what exactly happened between the two of them. It seems like it's a rivalry that started during his time at the academy. We'll probably see more about that in the future, Mirio said. Even the music further underscores the enmity between those two, Gyro said. Sakura passes Ino, causing Ino to run faster to outrun her, causing them both to start a race to outrun each other, glaring at each other. Wow, they really don't get along at all. if they fought to see who walks ahead, said Asui, somewhat surprised to see Ino and Sakura's attitude. And that you say it, your rocker replied, I would really like to know what happened between them for them to get along like this. They honestly remind me a bit of Bakugo and Midoriya, Ada said, to which some of his classmates nodded in agreement, to the embarrassment of the two mentioned. The scene changes. Naruto is sitting on a bench while smiling. Shikamaru approaches him and asks what he is doing there since only graduates can be there, to which Naruto replies that he already graduated and shows him his leaf headband as proof of that. You said Bakugo. It seems that the extra did appear again. And maybe it is someone important in this story, Minette said. Shut up, dwarf, Bakugo yelled as he glared at Mineta, which made the pervert tremble in fear. So this is Shikaku's son. The apple definitely didn't fall far from the tree, Kushina thought as she saw Shikamaru and noted his resemblance to her father. Focus on Hinata, who is blushing. Hinata, Naruto, you finally got to graduate, what joy. OMG, it's her. The girl who looks like Kyoka, Ashido exclaimed upon seeing Hinata. Is so sweet, Kushina said, moved to see Hinata. Like La Brava, Hagakure and several girls in the audience except Gyro, who is blushing with embarrassment at being compared to Hinata again. I wonder what her name is, though, since we can't just keep calling her the girl who looks like Kyoka, Hagakure said. I guess we'll find out soon enough, Kendo replied, to which the rest of the audience nodded in agreement. Sakura and Ino are running down a corridor and trying to get to the room where the others are gathered before the other. When they enter, they push each other to see who goes first while arguing. Ino and Sakura, me first. Ino, I beat you again, Sakura. Sakura, oh please, my big toe went in earlier. Ino, are you always so deluded? Those two should really behave themselves. If they want to stop treating them like children, they shouldn't act like one, said 13, seeing Ino and Sakura's attitude. You are disrespecting your school by acting like that, Ida exclaimed as he made a robotic cut, also annoyed to see his behavior. If they were my students, I would punish them for acting so childish, Aizawa said, to which the rest of the teachers nodded in agreement. They're supposed to be ninjas, not kindergarten girls, Miyamasa said. Naruto turns to look at them and blushes. Naruto, Sakura. Sakura looks in Naruto's direction and cheers. Naruto, she's smiling at me, I think she likes me with this headband on. Sakura smiles and goes in Naruto's direction, as Ino protests. The girls in the audience, especially Kushina, Ashido, Hagakure and La Brava, are somewhat surprised to see this. So, Naruto is interested in Sakura? Hagakure asked, somewhat surprised by this fact. It seems, La Brava said, also surprised. There is no. Ashido exclaimed upon seeing this, I really don't feel like I can send these two. There's something about that ship that I don't quite like, and I really want him to keep the girl who looks like Kyoka. I really like that ship a lot. We'll see, Ribbit, Asui said. Naruto, hello Sakura. What's new? Sakura, move, pushes him and looks at the boy sitting next to Naruto. Good morning, Sasuke. This quite surprised several in the audience, especially Ashido, Hagakure, and La Brava, while Kushina was quite upset seeing Sakura's attitude towards her son. Well, it seems that the interest comes only from Naruto. She likes that other boy, Hagakure said. Well, who can blame her? That boy is really very handsome, Ashido said, blushing when she saw Sasuke. Wow, it is, Inagi said, to which several girls nodded in agreement. So that's Sasuke, Midoriya said as he wrote down this information in his notebook. Look, Tamaki, Sasuke looks a lot like you, Nejiru said after seeing Sasuke, which caused several to look at him and Sasuke and were surprised to notice the resemblance between them. So it seems, Tamaki responded shyly, noticing that several people in the audience were watching him, but also somewhat surprised to notice how much Sasuke resembles him. Sasuke looks in Sakura's direction. Sakura, do you mind if I sit next to you? Ino approaches. Ino, take off, billboard brow. I'll sit next to Sasuke. She grabs her arm. Sakura, I was here before. Ino, I entered here before you. Everyone saw it. A couple more girls come up and join the discussion of who is going to sit next to Sasuke. Ugh, because another handsome boy. And on top of that, all those girls are fighting over him. Mineta complained, seeing that there is another boy more attractive than him, along with Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, Thor and Loki. Mineta's reaction ended up earning him several disgusted looks from the girls. It's really stupid though that all those girls are fighting over who gets to sit next to Sasuke, Arazu said, quite uncomfortable seeing the attitude of those girls, and I don't even want to think what my parents would say if they saw this. Besides that, Naruto was the one who was sitting there, Shiro said, also uncomfortable with the attitude of the girls. Billboard brow. That must be one of the worst insults I've ever heard. Bakugo said. Sasuke, clueless, and on top of all the girls are crazy about him. He's not even interested in them. It's so unfair. Mineta complained when he saw Sasuke's attitude towards the girls, which earned him several angry looks from the girls. Actually, to some extent he has a point. Those girls are acting like fangirls, Ojiro said. I wouldn't want to date a girl who behaves like that either, Kaibara agreed, to which several students nodded in agreement, as they agreed that it would be annoying to date a girl who acts like a fangirl. The fans, while they're great, can be a bit annoying at times, All Might said. Scene changes to the Hokage's crystal ball, which offers a view of Sasuke. The Hokage is gathered looking at him along with several jounin. Ninja 1, the most promising of the students. Sasuke Uchiha, is he? Hiruzen, yes, it's him. Kurenai, the sole survivor of the Uchiha clan. Hiruzen, right. Kakashi, seeing Naruto in the sphere. Naruto Uzumaki. This scene shocked the audience quite a bit, especially the part about Sasuke being the sole survivor of his clan. Meanwhile, Midoriya writes down the new information about Sasuke in his notebook. The sole survivor of his clan. I'm pretty sure there's a horrible story behind it, Komori said. There's definitely something pretty horrible in there, Ribbit Asui replied, as several in the audience wondered what had happened to Sasuke's clan. Unfortunately, they are not wrong, Felicity said, saddened since what happened with the Uchiha is something that really saddens her a lot, but, well, you'll see that later, he said, compiling himself, to which the rest of the audience, although they are interested in knowing more about Sasuke and his past, decided to return their attention to the episode. It's really sad to see that there is another child who has had to suffer the loss of his family, said Recovery Girl, saddened to see Sasuke's fate, as were several others in the audience, especially Kushina and Koda. On the other hand, I wonder who that ninja is that is interested in Naruto, said Aizawa. He doesn't know why, but something in that ninja has powerfully caught his attention. We'll find out, Shota present, Mike said, to which Aizawa nodded. Kakashi has grown a lot these years. I wonder how he has been since Minato and I passed away, Kushina thought, interested to see what had happened with Kakashi and how her husband's former disciple had grown. Scene changes to the living room where Naruto and the others are. Naruto angrily stands on the table facing Sasuke, while staring at Sasuke, who doesn't seem impressed. Naruto should get off the table. It is disrespectful what you are doing, Ida exclaimed as he made a robotic cut, although the rest of the audience ignores him as they have all their attention on Naruto and Sasuke. The girls who were arguing to see who sat next to Sasuke are now glaring at Naruto, while yelling at Naruto. Naruto, why is everyone obsessed with him? Sasuke, what is interesting about this guy? That's what I want to know. What's interesting about that guy? I am much more interesting than him, Minta complained, which once again earned him stares from the women in the audience. Do you really have to ask? It's pretty obvious, Ashido replied. Not to mention that he's quite handsome and doesn't act like a pervert, Hagakure added. Even his attitude, there's something about it that's really very interesting, Takage said, much to Minta's chagrin. Both stare at each other and there is a beam that comes out of their eyes and connects with the other's eyes, further highlighting the tension between Naruto and Sasuke. The girls angrily shout at Naruto. There really is a lot of tension between those two, Bondo said. I wonder if something happened between them, Sato said. There's definitely something there, Komori said, while Kushina looks quite surprised since she never thought that this is how the friendship between her son and Sasuke began. Those girls are really scary, Minta said, somewhat scared to see the anger of the girls against Naruto. And that you say it, Kaminari replied, also scared. And that's why you two shouldn't make one girl angry, let alone several, Midnight said to both of them, to which several boys nodded in agreement. Student, while this is great moves and ends up punching Naruto behind him, Naruto leans forward. Sorry, did I hit you? The girls who were just glaring at Naruto are now looking in the same direction, but very surprised. Sakura, what the hell? Ino, Aya,